Lightning cracks, moves at max. It's movie night. The gang's all here, gripped with fear. More horror films, alright. From bad to worse and worse to shit, you'll beg to fucking quit. Malevolent Movies has arrived in stereo now, nowhere to hide.
All right, everybody, welcome to Malevolent Movies, the podcast, episode number 17. And oh boy, do we have something special coming at you tonight. You like sickness? You like houses? You like structures? You like human beings having problems and arguments? You're going to love 2006's Sickness House.
A film before its time.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
2 months ago, if I had seen this for the first time, I would have been shook.
Yeah, now.
So long.
Damn, bye, Ryan.
Which sucks because we got the fast internet now. We got the up like by quite a bit. So because it went from like 30 to 320. I don't know what that means, but I heard the guy on the phone. So it's significantly faster.
320 kilobytes.
There's instead of 30 gerbils, there's 320 gerbils running on that wheel here in
Make sure you keep them fed.
But yeah, we are diving into a 2006, which has kind of been the theme somewhat lately. A lot of 2006 movies. That was a sweet spot for some of this low budget crap. And Sickness House is indeed low budget, but was it crap? We'll find out as we dive into this nugget.
I think we hit the apex, Ryan, because I climaxed multiple times. I have watched this movie 3.5 times. I don't regret a single minute of it.
Yeah, I'm at 2 times, and I don't want to give anything away, but I enjoyed myself. We'll wait toward the end for that.
So, well, I've got the DVD. I bought the DVD, the Brain Damage Films release of Sickness House. All of the art of which nothing from the film, not a single thing. The house especially, it's like an old haunted house, like Addams Family house, nothing like that.
What's the copyright on the back of that DVD? Like, is this like a re-release of the movie?
2007. It says Art and Design 2007.
All right, so this is probably one of the initial releases then.
Yeah. So it says on the back, New Year's was never so infectious. While attending a New Year's party, Benjamin Anderson is suddenly called away when his wife, Whitney, falls ill. Growing concerned about his wife's declining health, Ben calls for Dr. Victor Howard's expertise. But this is one illness the good doctor cannot diagnose, forcing the house and all of the guests to be quarantined until a cure can be found. Panic starts to spread among the guests while Victor learns that the illness may not be Whitney, but something deep inside the house. And I will say that's an interesting synopsis. I would watch that movie. I did. It was not that at all, and I still enjoyed myself.
Yeah.
Trevor, you don't sound equally as excited as I am. What's wrong?
So I want to reiterate some context for the viewers here. We've been hearing about Sickness House. I feel like Sickness House has been looming on the horizon
for 3 months at the very least.
For 3 months. So I learned that Tyler, Nick, and Ryan, and maybe Joe, but definitely those 3 watched this for potentially to be their pick, or Festicool's pick rather, for the Hunt for Holiday Horror. Thankfully, they chose Ice Queen instead. No contest really.
Went for the ringer
between the two of them. Yeah, it's exactly. So I've heard this one has been brought up a lot of times, so it was kind of built up, and they just kept going. You're not gonna believe it. It's gonna be a great episode, but been very vague as to why. And so I was just waiting for some big F style, just horrible thing to happen. And
I will still hang my hat on that. I do still feel like something happened in like the final 10 minutes.
Yes.
This is still not a movie that should be built up by any means. If you heard about this movie and you're excited, like, wow, there's a lot of buzz, a lot of controversy about Sickness House. I got to check it out. You're going to be disappointed. Don't get me wrong. But it's still an experience.
Yeah, and just Sickness House is such an evocative title. I expected everybody to start. I thought they were going to fill the house up with vomit. I thought this was going to be just pure gross out, nasty, disgusting movie, and it's the opposite. There's none of that.
Well, I learned something from the director's commentary that should pique Nick's interest. So the film involves, an epidemic that's brewing in this home, and these people get quarantined. And at the end of the movie, as it's evolving, originally the director wanted the house itself to start tearing itself apart because of illness. Like the house is going to be a part of the whole thing, more like in a very real, visceral sense, which is something that we wanted to...
cracks and there's piles of flesh behind it.
Yes. So very similar to our discussions early on in Butcher the Baker's when that cabin was supposed to be covered in flesh and whatever. But at the very least, we were smart enough to know we can't do that. So, we were just as smart as Sickness House.
Don't you say that I'm too smart for something. I am not. I would have absolutely
we didn't have enough
tried
money.
And failed.
Didn't have enough money.
Yeah.
Speaking of money, how much did this movie cost to make?
How much
the
you
budget
got
here?
How much you got in your wallet right now?
I just gave my dad $150. Could I have funded my own Sickness House Part 2 with that?
You're way under budget.
Well, what's funny is you bring that up is in the I don't know if you guys watched this, one of the special features, the featurette, the interview with the director, and he kept talking toward the end of the featurette. He's talking about how they need support and movies like this need support, and he kept saying, "Well, we don't have $200 million, we don't have $5 million, even $5 million, we don't
even have $500."
I was going to say he's going lower. We don't even have $100,000, but he kept stopping at that $5 million figure.
Here's what I'll say. I'll touch on that because I feel like I can't help myself. The director, and hey, this is 15 years ago, so I'll give the guy some credit. He might have been younger. He talks like he is of the industry. He keeps talking about how his producers made decisions, how he fought to get final cut in a way, and all this stuff. And it's like, no, none of that happened. Like, I'm sure that conversations took place, but they were probably like, somebody was like, "Hey, I have a suggestion." You just said, "No, Andrew, I'm sorry." So I think he taught, like, and hey, I don't blame him. Like, that's what a lot of up and coming directors and writers and all those people do. It's all about the game. You got to sell them the thing. Yeah. And so, but it was really uncomfortable after having watched the movie and then seeing him talk about it. Because I watched the director's commentary and all the behind the scenes stuff. There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
And then also watching him get very short with the child in the movie was uncomfortable.
Oh my God. Go back to your too fast. Remember to do your counting.
Do your counting. I had flashbacks to when I was 9 years old doing plays. And, it gets to a point, and I was just doing community theater, but it got to a point where getting close to showtime, if the kid isn't, hitting his mark and stuff, they get mad. They start getting irritated with the child. And so I felt for that kid. I was like, oof, I was there, man. I was there back in 89. I remember.
There's that one shot, and I think it was the behind the scenes thing, or maybe the Goop video, where they're pouring blood all over the gray man or the ghoul man. I don't know what he's called, Frog Man. And while he's like over Helen, and he's just screaming, Mike, get out of there. Get out of the shot. It was very uncomfortable.
All right. Well, people lost their minds making Sickness House. Did we lose ours as we watch Sickness House? We're about to find out. The director, Andrew Patrick Torres, although he's billed as Patrick Higgins in the movie, he also is the director, as I just said. He's the writer, and he gives himself one of the plum co-lead roles as Dr. Victor. I didn't write the last name down. Dr. Victor. I'm just going to call him.
It doesn't sound like something that would happen in a low-budget horror movie.
I'm going to give him some credit. Not now, but that will come into context. Originally, he was not going to do it, and there's physical proof to show that he wasn't going to do that. Play Victor. Okay. But I'll share that when I get to it, because I'm first. I'm first up. So you guys ready for this?
Yeah.
Any other final thoughts? Prayers?
No. Let's get on with the sickness.
I mean, some prayers, maybe.
Okay. It's only an hour long. What?
Yeah.
It could be worse.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you for 1 second that this movie's only an hour long, because it took me 4 different times of sitting down, watching like 15 minutes, and then I'd leave, forget about it, and then come back.
Because there was so much to think about, Zach. You see,
yes, I was digesting pieces of it.
You just finished WandaVision. You got into the rhythm of needing that time to ruminate on stuff. Dude, I bet you saw Mephisto. I saw Mephisto in Sickness House.
Yeah, he's in every single person.
The film opens with one of the worst-looking production cards I've ever seen, along with an unused track from the 1993 DOS game, The Seventh Guest. Wonderful game. That I'm just aging myself right there. Came with our first Mac. We then cut to a shot of an older woman in white pants and a white shirt sitting outside of a residential home, very specifically a residential home. She's moving slowly, which you're supposed to assume is meant to like show that she's acting odd, but it just looks like an old woman being old. So you don't get the context for about another 2 minutes. And then there's a seemingly random insert shot of a doorknob being shaken, like they're not actually trying to open the door. They just want
they're just rattling it.
Yeah,
making noise. Yeah.
So we cut into the house where there's a younger woman, probably late teens, early 20s-ish, sitting on a stool in the kitchen. She's also wearing white. So I think, we've made low-budget films. I immediately was like, okay, this is some kind of like care home. There's something wrong with these people. But then the cinematography really kicks into high gear with a shot of a doctor and a nurse walking up to the house, and the camera is at belly button level, cutting off their legs and heads. So something super important there.
Happens so often throughout this movie that I kept checking to see if my window was full screen or if I had maybe pulled the image off to the side a little, because genuinely there's so many times the framing just isn't there. Like they might have bought a short tripod, they didn't know how to make it taller, they didn't want to tilt up, whatever it is, they couldn't figure out how to set a fucking frame.
Zach, is there any chance that on a digital camera in the mid 2000s that like if they had like a viewfinder, like an actual put your eye up to it thing, but it would be different than the actual size of the frame? Is there any chance of that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's possible that maybe they were shooting like a different format than what they were seeing through the viewfinder, and so like it was actually cropped in a lot more than what they thought. Because there's been times we've had that with even cameras now where like the color is different in the recording than it was on the viewfinder. So maybe we could chalk it up to malfunction of equipment. But
I think we need to give this film as much credit as possible.
Yeah, definitely. Good call.
And the benefit of the doubt, Sickness House needs it. It's sick for it.
Yep. So anyways, we see this doctor and the nurse, or at least their chests. There's some excellent ADR as the nurse informs the doctor that the young girl inside was picked up off the streets days ago after she had gotten back from a trip deep into Africa with her sister. Something to do with Feed the Children. But anyways, she contracted a fever that resulted in her losing touch with reality. That's the nurse's words, not mine. The camera continues to track only the doctor and nurse's feet and or guts and butts because the actors and directors had no means of properly doing ADR, I'm guessing. So I assume that they probably in the moment were like, we'll go back and do it later. But then the director realized, oh shit, this is not, they don't know how to read lips or do it. I don't know. But it just didn't work out. So while this is going on, we keep cutting back into the house where we see the girl. She's like scratching this black moldy spot on her arm. And I don't know, was it a good effect or not?
No.
Okay,
no.
It was not.
I mean,
Consensus is no.
for 2006, for this kind of budget, yeah, it's fine. It's not bad, you know. But no.
But it still made me feel uneasy because the idea of a growth, of a furry, weird growth coming at you like a mold, it bothered me. So even though I knew it was a terrible effect, I started thinking about the realism behind it. Of like, what if that was, instead of like a chicken pox type of thing, you started growing out started molding, really. Spores start coming out.
That's a good way to look at most of this movie. What you're seeing does kind of look like shit, but it's intriguing. The thought behind it is intriguing. And something that we've said probably a lot on the show is that if it were done well, it would be very effective.
Yeah.
A lot of that in this.
Andrew, got a great idea for you, buddy. Call up the team that made Contagion and sell them this as Contagion 2. I mean, they're not going to use your script at all, but I mean, actually, you know what? I'm going to put it out there. Andrew, I want the script. I want you to send me the rights to the script because I want to put on a stage play of this. And I fully mean that because the dialogue in this thing is tremendous.
Yeah, you can't change a line of it, though. That's the things you can't. And, I almost want a transcript because there's a lot of lines as this movie goes on where people said things wrong and it was left in. And it was obvious left or they backtracked. It was just left in. So I don't even want the script. I want the transcript of the because I know those lines. I know that wasn't the way the line was supposed to be. And they're just like, whatever. Yeah. It's fine.
Who fucking cares?
We're back inside and our sick girl sees this tall, dirty man. He's also wearing white like her and the other lady. He's like standing in the corner looking away from her. We're back outside. The doctor and nurse are at the door, and they're discussing how there was a lack of quarantine at the airport. She should have been quarantined at the airport, but for some reason she wasn't. And the doctor and nurse clearly walked past the same area where that old woman was, and she's just not there. So apparently they couldn't get them all on the same day. So they walk into the house, and the screen inexplicably goes black. And the doctor says he will go talk to the girl, and the screen's just black for some reason. Either they didn't get the footage or the footage got corrupted. We learn that the young woman is Maggie, and her brother-in-law sent the doctor to check on her. My best guess is this house is some kind of care home run by the nurse, because I couldn't quite figure it out if it was like the nurse was like, if she knew the doctor and came with him, or if it was like, hey, doc, blah, blah, here's my people, do my thing. I don't know. I'm thinking about this too much. Yeah. So while they're in the living room with the girl, the doorknob jiggles more. And so it's like, oh, it's fucking doorknob business. And Maggie looks at the door, and the tall, dirty man is there. And he has some kind of shitty, like, prosthetic on his face. It looks like frog eyes glued to his head.
Yeah. He looks like a jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah. Go on.
That's
Elaborate,
it.
won't
He just looks like a rotting pumpkin.
I mean, it really is. This is what, like 480p, maybe 720, and I've got a DVD rip of it, and it's all pixelated and shitty, and I can still see the seam of the thing on the guy's face. So I can't imagine being the actors on set when this guy walks in the room and be like, oh.
I don't even know that this was like an actual like appliance that was like sculpted. I think it might be like a buildup of like latex and toilet paper, that sort of thing.
Also, fun fact, it is listed as 408p on Plex, so I don't know if that's even possible. I've never heard of 408p, but that's the original quality that it's got listed there.
It's Sickness House Vision.
Yeah,
this is a direct rip of the DVD, so
good.
It's to make you feel uneasy, make you feel sick as you watch it. So it's affecting you.
And I do. It works.
So Frogman somehow he appears right in front of Maggie, but like kind of between her and the doctor. So this causes her to attack the doctor. That's a running theme, is that this Frogman places himself between the sick person and somebody else so they can be attacked. So she's scratching and biting his face. The nurse falls over, does her psycho scream. We cut to the title, which is like a clip art image of like a metal nameplate with Sickness House in the middle. And then we get some beautiful MIDI music tracks that pick up. It's terrible. And just more superimposed credits with like the screws of like the nameplate. It's just bad. Excuse me. So I listened to the director's commentary.
He's getting sick.
Yeah. Well, I did get my COVID shot 2 days ago, and yesterday I felt like butt. I was kind of hoping I'd feel even worse today for this, but I feel fine. So science works.
Go get another one.
Yeah. I need my Jovid shot.
I think we got it.
Yeah. So I listened to the director's commentary, which has Pat. Well, he goes by Patrick or Andrew Patrick Torres, but in the movie he's credited as Patrick Higgins. Him and his brother Adon Higgins, who did the sound engineering and music. But the commentary has no film sound. So there's no other sound other than these two talking.
I hate that. Yeah.
Yes. So there's long stretches, like minutes, where nobody's talking, but you can hear them breathing and smacking their lips. It's very uncomfortable.
All right,
They're eating ribs.
I would have preferred that. At least it would have been consistent noise. But anyways, we learn in the director's commentary that this opening scene was edited at least 4 to 5 times. So there's 4 to 5 different versions of this. They could have done a couple more because this was not the one to go with.
And this is what they ended up with.
Yeah.
The opening scene with the
I would assume up until the credits.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and they, there's a little tidbit I'll save later, but the doctor that we see was supposed to play somebody else in the movie, and I think that they would have been a much better fit. But anyways, the credits fade out. We get a heavily pixelated image of the date surrounded by some ornate squiggly lines. And the date, as it is stated, says New Year's Day. So the day after New Year's Eve, as in the day everyone would be at home, hungover, and tired. So that's what it says. And this was this was picked up for distribution and released. I would assume at some point somebody would have pointed this out to Andrew between the premiere and the moment that this was released on DVD, and nobody changed it. So
maybe, and this is baffling to me, but maybe they felt that they didn't want to put New Year's Eve day because it's obvious the party starts with it's still sunlight. So it's like, so maybe in their mind they were thinking, well, it's New Year's Eve day, it's New Year's Day. But New Year's Day,
New Year's day.
Yeah,
just December 31st.
Oh yes,
Like, no one that's gonna see this movie is gonna not pick up that it's New Year's Eve if you just put December 31st.
It also
there's only gonna be like 100,000 people that see this movie in its lifetime. They're gonna know what the day is.
Also, with the exception of like 2 or 3 different things throughout the movie, it really doesn't matter what day of the year this is on.
Exactly.
This could be a party on February 8th. It doesn't matter.
It could also be in fucking August.
Right. Anytime.
Essentially, we're seeing a party that's barely looks like it was set up for a party involving a lot of people who don't want to be at the party.
Right.
It's a very uncomfortable scene that maybe there's a prequel film that we missed. I don't know. That set up the party.
In the original script, how big did they think of a house they were getting? Because they crammed way too many people into what I can assume is the remnants of the house from Sledgehammer. It's got the same exact walls.
I'm glad
with
you said
some
that.
wainscoting. It's
That
pretty much the same house.
hallway is the Sledgehammer hallway.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking that throughout the whole movie is that the script was written for a mansion.
Yes.
The script was written because there's numerous references as the movie goes on that the 2 people that are throwing the party, Ben and Whitney, the couple, are wealthy. They're very wealthy. There's references to you're so rich but you couldn't afford cable, etc. Yet the house is not only not that big a deal, but it's run down. It's run down and full of broken down electronics.
Also, the house is like 700 square feet, and my favorite thing that happens throughout the movie is that someone will be like, "Oh my God, we gotta go. Someone's sick," and then someone will open up a door 2 feet from them and be like, "What's going on over here?" And they're like, "Dave's sick." And then like someone else will open the door and be like, "Is everyone okay?" It's like this house is very small.
There's a moment later on where it was like a Three Stooges sketch where somebody pops out, "Who's sick? Who's saying that I'm?" It's supposed to be the middle of the night, and then the Joseph character, who I had no idea was even up and walking around, pops his head into frame and goes, "What's going on?" And it's like I wanted their heads to be one above each other around a corner, like an old cartoon or a Three Stooges episode.
Yes.
So in the commentary, they talk a lot about how the woman who owned this place was very nice, and like she let them go back multiple times to film. She was happy to have them there. She made Christmas trees that they could put in the background for decoration, even though it's New Year's Day. But there's a lot of this so Andrew, I'm talking to you directly, buddy. You did a lot of things. You made a lot of decisions because you didn't have much of another choice. Like things like you lost actors, you didn't have materials, and you made it work. Why in this moment did you have to have Ben and Whitney be rich? Like there's nothing about their characters or what happens to them that makes you think that like they needed to be rich for that. Just take it out. Take it out, because actually Andrew was supposed to play Cathy, the maid's husband. They lived in the home too. But unfortunately, the person I think that they were going to have play Ben, they either never cast the person or they left the project. Or not Ben, but Victor. But oh gosh, no. They couldn't find a Ben. So God, I'm spoiling too many things. They couldn't find a Ben. But Ben, the actor, was the father of the baby in the movie. So that guy got the part just because he was there because the baby had to be there. And so I think
there had to be something other than his acting skills.
And I think, oh God, yeah. And I think it just trickled. And then he ended up playing Victor because he realized that he could just cut this husband of the maid part. But there is there's a deleted scene with him and Cathy together, as the husband and wife couple. So that was initially his original part. It was supposed to be much smaller.
So through all of this, why did he never come to the conclusion that the maid didn't fit in this tiny house and didn't matter whatsoever in any capacity?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, because why would they have a maid? They live in a rundown house.
She's doing a bad job. It's very dirty. And also, there's a point where they're like, "Is there anyone here we don't know about? A maid? Maybe a gardener?" I'm like, "There's no one else in this house. You would have seen them." There is nowhere they could be hiding.
Smelled them. I mean, everybody's right under your nose. I'm surprised it had as many rooms as it supposedly did.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jesus Christ. Sickness House. It's going to be the shortest movie with the longest episode.
It's because there's a lot to unpack in the house, believe it or not, because of just choices.
There's something about something about a bunch of people in a house.
Yeah.
That like, just watching this made me want to go watch Sledgehammer again, and that's something I never expected to feel in my life.
So speaking of the home, I wrote down, cut to a shot of a lakeside or seaside home as the sun is either setting or rising. I learned in the director's commentary that they filmed this in Michigan, so I'm assuming near Detroit, because Detroit gets name dropped quite a few times. But inside the kitchen, there are two women discussing how the catering service brought the wrong sandwiches. Now, I'm going to bring you, the audience. We've mentioned a lot of names here, but up until this point, you don't know anybody's fucking name right now, okay? Nobody in this house, you don't know anybody's name, all right? So we're in the kitchen where there's two women, one very upset woman about the catering service bringing the wrong food, but specifically the sandwiches. The other woman is explaining that the catering snafu is clearly being forced to act. Oh, wait, what the fuck? This is me describing how I feel. That this catering woman is very uncomfortable. She does not like the acting. She does not like addressing the situation. She's just like wringing her hands and looking at the floor. It was very uncomfortable to watch. Miss Anderson, we finally get the name drop. Miss Anderson is the angry person who owns the home. Is upset. The sandwiches, blah 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 blah. But the woman she's yelling at is what the fuck? I think I lost my mind when I wrote this.
It's a sickness.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It got to you.
Yeah, sorry. I just need to make the font bigger. I'm getting old, guys.
Also, we get a shot of what the catering company brought.
Yeah.
And it looks like 6 like uncooked livers and then a giant block of like Gouda.
Yeah, it was like a triangle of
Like
cheese.
hard cheese.
It's like a
Chunks of
two-tone
butt.
wedge of cheese, and I put down next to a glop of whipped cream covered in almonds.
Right.
I put
There are a
fun-
few Salisbury steak on there, a few raw Salisbury steak.
They went to the Dollar Tree, got every box of Encore Salisbury steaks, and half-assed microwaved them.
But I don't understand. They're talking about sandwiches. She's upset about the sandwiches, but we don't see any sandwiches. We don't even know what we're looking at.
It was a deconstructed sandwich.
If you're expecting sandwiches and you got this, I'd be pissed too.
I guess maybe
What the
that's the
fuck
point.
is this?
It was
This
the
isn't a
ingredients for a
sandwich?
sandwich.
Imagine that call.
Some of them.
Imagine that call with the catering company where you're like, yeah, I'd like a sandwich. And they're like, yeah, we got that. We know what sandwiches are. And then they hung up and went, we don't have bread. We don't have cheese. We don't have lettuce. Just give them whatever. And that's how that happened.
Yeah.
Give them
funny,
some
bring
raw
that-
meat and some cheese.
It's funny you bring that up, Zach. 3 nights ago, I went to Jimmy John's here, and they were out of bread at 8 o'clock at night.
And what did they
Damn.
give you instead? A giant block of cheese?
Yeah, they gave me a big block of cheese, some Salisbury steak,
Liver.
some of those Star Crunch cookies,
Whipped cream with
and an
almonds.
entire horse's leg.
Oh gosh.
I didn't know why they had that in the back, but I ate it.
So Miss Anderson is very upset, and she goes and she grabs the platter of the cheese wedge, and she goes to scrape it into the garbage, but just drops the whole thing on the ground. Then the woman who we still don't know this technically is the maid, gets on the ground on her hands and knees and starts cleaning that shit up. I just felt so bad for this woman. More so because the director decided to point out how the actress was going through some relationship problems throughout this, and it made it difficult to schedule her shoot. Unnecessary, Andrew, to bring up the actress's
Damn.
baggage. You've already done the damage by releasing this film. That's hurt her enough. Don't just shut the fuck up, dude.
Was he laughing about it?
No, he wasn't. It was
She was going through relationship problems.
Her husband ran off with another woman. It's great.
That was her craft services for the whole shoot.
I think he just wanted people to know about the struggles the film went through, but it's like, dude, this isn't making the fucking Titanic. Like, not everybody got diarrhea or whatever after taking the LSD. Like, it's fine.
Oh Jesus.
Anyways, they're both on the ground to pick this up. It now looks like, to me, this still frame looks like it's like a caramel cheesecake resting in a pile of shit. But Miss Anderson says it's okay, and they'll both clean it up, and she apologizes to the maid. Again, we still don't technically know that, but she's the maid. She scolds her. She still scolds her for having made the decision without consulting her. And I don't know why any of this is fucking important, other than to establish that maybe Whitney, we don't know her name. It's Miss Anderson still. That Miss Anderson has what's coming to her because she's the first one to get sick. So maybe she's an asshole and that's what she gets. But anyways, The phone rings, and Miss Anderson goes and answers it. So we cut to a conversation happening at the other side of the party that hits a little too close to home. A man in glasses and wearing a green button-up shirt says this. I'm just saying, and again, we cannot emphasize this enough. The acting is dog shit.
Oh,
it is so
horrible.
bad. And it is beautiful. It is beautiful. It's like taking a long toke on a stogie. It's like drinking that glass of scotch. It's like getting a nut. It is beautiful.
That should have been on the back of the DVD.
It's like getting a nut.
Malevolent Movies, the podcast.
Get a pull quote for us.
So this is Green Shirt Man saying this. I'm just saying the voters don't know what the hell they want. Take the current president, for example. The people voted in an ideal, an image, not the man. We then see the reverse of this. He's talking to a husband and wife. The wife is holding a newborn. Mr. Husband says, in his best big boy acting voice, but why shouldn't they? What is a president if not what he stands for? The point is, and the cough was in there, the point is,
Andy Serkis played this role.
The president is the image. It's his job to fix the problems this country has, not fix the problems of others. Green shirt. That's what I'm saying. You don't want to fix the problem until it's already completely broken. Mr. Husband, of course, it's something in place. If something in place is working, you shouldn't have to worry about it. Green shirt. Spoken like a true liberal Democrat. Okay, I'm going to get this out quick because I know you guys all got something to say about this. So I'm going to talk directly to Andrew Torres, the director here. So everybody else, turn your sound off. To everybody, kids at home, take your headphones off, turn the volume down, okay? Andrew. What the fuck, man? Mr. Husband is clearly a Republican from the dialogue you wrote for him. He is idolizing the president. He's claiming that the only problem of the problems that matter are America's problems, and he wants things to stay the same. That's a fucking conservative Republican, dude. Green shirt sounds like the liberal Democrat. Also, what the fuck are the names of these characters? Damn it, man. We're only 5 minutes in, and you're asking too much of me and my fucking brain. All right, everybody, headphones back on, volume back up.
And, and Tyler has a point there because I had to make a key. I made a character key.
Oh, yeah, which was very helpful. Thank you.
I knew just for myself watching it, I was like, oh, gosh. And there's a lot of characters in Sickness House, and they're all, this is an ensemble film technically. And so there is a couple of leads, I guess, but it's more about the group. And there are a lot of people in this movie. But we don't get their names very easily. We have to pry the name through paying attention to dialogue, and some characters' names aren't said for a half hour into the movie.
Oh,
so it's very frustrating keeping track of all the characters.
But anyways, I'm not crazy, right? Like the dialogue sounded reversed for what we were established.
Well, it's not only it's reversed, but at the time this was written, shot, and released, Bush was the president. So like, was this an argument that was happening then?
In 2005-ish?
5 and 6. Like
maybe still.
I guess, but even so, the dialogue still doesn't match what they're saying, and like the people though, like none of this makes any sense.
I'm trying to see when how many waves of the invasion of Iraq there were. Maybe there was one that took place right before filming started.
Oh, they filmed this in October,
and it got Andrew all fired up.
Yeah.
All right, so anyways, diving back into this, they're having this uncomfortable conversation, and Mr. Husband's wife interrupts and says she's going to bounce, and the two men can continue to argue about their narrow perspectives. And a fun little, I already established this, but anyways, yeah, I keep giving it away. Green Shirt Man was not supposed to be in the movie. He was the baby's dad, and he just happened to be there, and they needed a warm body for the part.
That's the baby's dad?
I thought you meant the other guy.
No.
I thought you meant spoilers. You can bleep that. I thought you meant Mustache Man.
No, it's Ben, Green Shirt.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I mean, that also explains a lot. Like, that makes sense.
It's a pretty big role.
Oh, a very big role.
Yeah, that's a big role to give somebody that's not an actor.
That is a huge role. That is, I would argue, the lead of the movie.
Yeah. I agree.
He's got some emotional moments. He's got a few effects things he gets to do. He gets to do some action bits. I mean, if you're a filmmaker and you're going to make your movie, that's not the character. You just grab the dad of the baby. You want to audition people and find somebody plumb for that. Well, good in that role.
So
why did the director play that role?
I don't know. That would have made a lot more sense because
that seems like a slam dunk.
Yeah. Because honestly, it felt like the Victor part, the doctor that comes in later, had more than he even needed to do. Like, I understand his importance of having, a science man on the inside, but like, you also didn't need to call somebody. Like, one of those guys could have just been a fucking doctor.
Well, they all went to med school together. The green shirt guy, the guy in the sweater, and the doctor. Why is he not talking to his other doctor that's already at his house? Why is he like, I'm going to inconvenience a different doctor and bring him here?
They were doctors of like art or something.
Yeah, different kind of doctor.
Not art. Not for how this turned out.
I'm exclusively a horse doctor.
But he's like a psychologist.
It's ridiculous.
All right, so now we're in the dining room, and there's a 20-ish blonde woman in a floral dress sitting next to a brunette woman. Mrs. Wife sits down with them and the baby and laments the men getting political. Lady Brunette points out that this was going to happen sooner or later. Ha ha ha! Very funny. Lady Blonde takes the baby to hold while Miss Wife says the baby is restless and they may leave soon. Lady Brunette agrees that if things don't kick off at the party, her and Joseph are going to leave. Now, the only fucking names we know so far are Miss Anderson, Ben, and Joseph, and yet we have been introduced to 7 people and a baby, and only Miss Anderson has been addressed directly. So, who are Ben and Joseph? We don't fucking know. Have we seen them already? We don't know. Technically, we do, but you don't know. So, what the fuck is going on, Andrew? You fucking jackass. I want to start saying jag-off more often. I just remembered that. That would have been a good moment to drop that.
Do you want to take the line again?
Take it from the top.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're going to edit this.
What the fuck is going on, Andrew, you jag-off?
Nailed it.
Thank you. I'm auditioning for his next film.
Very good.
Overqualified.
Thank you.
Sickness
Town.
like the Die Hard franchise. They just get bigger and bigger with each one.
Dude, if any of these movies that we review comes out with a sequel because of our efforts, that's all I want. We can retire then. So
I'm not going to rest. Malevolent movies can only die once we get to cameo in a movie. Yeah. For one, I don't care if it's a Justin Price movie. I don't care if it's some other director I can't think of. Andrew Torres or Chris LaMartina would be
preferably Chris.
Or Kevin. Is he still making movies?
We're hoping.
Okay, yeah, Kevin, come on.
What the fuck happened now?
You popped out, buddy. Your ding dong is completely out. We see the whole thing. Okay, I'll keep going. For some reason, Lady Blonde decides to point out that Veronica, we are to assume Veronica is Lady Brunette, but that Veronica's husband is up for a promotion. So I guess we're talking about Lady Brunette's husband, Joseph. Joseph is getting the promotion, and Veronica, his wife, is Lady Brunette. Boom. We've connected the dots on the board. It's like a fucking Rubik's Cube putting these names to faces. So Miss Wife wants to congratulate him, so Veronica points out that he is talking with the maid's son. Now, I don't want to put any negative thoughts into people's heads, but Joseph is a full-grown man with some kind of thin braided rat tail. Zach, what did you call it?
I said it looked like a Padawan braid.
Yes.
He looks like the little monk character from Earthbound. I don't know if any of you have played it, but he looks like Pooh. He's got the same little pew. Like
yes,
I was thinking it was more like a Hare Krishna thing. I wasn't sure.
Oh, there you go.
But anyways, we have a full-grown man talking to a child, a little boy dressed up in a nice little suit. Joseph could be a great guy for all we know, but unfortunately, it looks odd that at a party for adults, the rat tail man chooses to isolate and talk to a child. So I've got a bit of a problem with that. So anyways, Miss Wife asks Lady Blonde and Veronica where Helen is, character we don't fucking know, because she needs to talk to her before leaving. So Miss Anderson walks up to the political men, and we overhear Green Shirt calling Mr. Husband Edward. Okay, scratch that off the list. Mustache Man is Edward. We are also to assume that Green Shirt Man is Ben, because Miss Anderson calls him Dear. So we've got, we'll just go ahead and fucking spoil it. It's Whitney, and Ben Anderson, and we've got Edward and Lady Wife and Baby.
There's a lot of work for us to know who is who.
Too much. So she pulls him away because the phone's for him. He needs to answer the call, the one that she's been on. It's very, very important. And he's just being a fucking dick about it. Like, no, I got this political conversation is way more important to you than whatever this phone call could be. But this guy has got to be a local, like, I still think he had to be like a local theater actor or something, because every time he talks, it's like he's hitting the back of the room. It's like, you need to hear me. So
it's that kind of vibe.
Mrs. Wife asks about Whitney's sister, who was supposed to be there. Veronica says that Maggie, Whitney's sister, thus meaning Miss Anderson is Whitney, was committed to a mental hospital. Also, Veronica's delivery of this line is clearly a fucking blooper because she stumbles through the whole thing. Do more than one take, Andrew. You might get another 1.5 stars on IMDb out of it.
Ooh, shots fired.
But hey, stick around till the end, Andrew, if you're actually listening to this, because you're going to get a lot of praise from me. But anyway, so to reiterate, we've got Ben and Whitney Anderson, the party hosts, Edward, husband, and his wife, Mrs. Wife, and their baby. We've got Veronica and Joseph, are a couple and or married. And we got Lady Blonde, appears to be flying solo. And there's a woman named Helen somewhere at this party, and the maid's son, and the poor woman who got yelled at about the tray of rotten almond cream cheese. So cut to outside the party on a deck by the water. We've got what appears to be another couple, a guy named Michael, and we are to assume the other person is Helen, that was discussed earlier. Helen is upset about Michael constantly talking about his writing, and he points out he's a writer. He writes. If people ask about what he's writing, he will tell them about his writing. Actually, Ryan, is what you sent like the actual quote?
No. What I said was just what I got out of it. But it was, he says the word writer a bunch of times. And basically what we get from the argument is that she doesn't like him talking about being a writer. And he's like, I can't help it. People ask me what I'm doing for a living. Yeah. And I've written books. So, I mean, they ask me, it'd be rude to say, fuck off. I don't want to tell you about my new book. So I feel from the info we get in that argument that he was in a very bad relationship.
They name dropped movies like Clue in the director's commentary. I think that they were trying to go for like The Author, The Maid, the rich hosts of the party, you know.
The Padawan.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to go for the usual, yeah.
Hey, but I'm going to give that dude some credit.
I was going to say,
Joseph, you've got a dope-ass name, Bruce Boatwright.
Yeah.
That's his fucking legal name, and it is amazing. So,
that's good.
Bruce, we want to work with you.
Just take some acting classes, my friend.
Yeah. Well, everybody needs some.
Everybody. And then just better diction for everybody and, emotion. Remember that these are human beings. Remember that they're not just words on a page.
So stop talking about the script, Ryan. People are sick of hearing about the script. I know that you like scripts and stuff, but no one wants to hear about the script. That's what she just said to her boyfriend outside, by the way.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just
Jesus.
And I will say, though, for Helen, for the Helen, she's the only person that dressed for a New Year's Eve party.
Yes. She's wearing like a full-on fucking prom dress.
Yeah. With the heels and everything.
Yeah, it's a sparkly dress, and everybody else. I mean, her boyfriend's got a shirt and tie on and everything. But her boyfriend, her husband Michael, looks like he's going to an 8th grade graduation, whereas Helen is an adult dressed for a party. And I appreciated that she came there, expecting a much better time than she was getting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so anyways, Michael brings up that that when she recently came back from a trip to Detroit, and she seems different, something's off. And lo and behold, when we find out what that is, it was too heavy for this movie. But he leaves her outside and he rejoins the party because he's going to give her some space. And everything sounds really important in this scene, but I was way too distracted by the mic stand clearly visible on the right side of the frame the whole time. So they had like a regular mic stand between the two actors, and I think they thought that Helen's body would cover it. It did not.
Well, maybe they were near a beach. Maybe they thought people would think that was from the pier. That's part of a boat dock, maybe.
Yeah.
I did not notice that, but
I
there
didn't
it is. And it's
right
gigantic.
Now
I was too distracted. I was too distracted by this orange filter thing.
Yeah.
That's happening. That doesn't really quite cover the whole frame. If you look in the top right-hand corner, you can see what color the sky actually was.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's so fucking strange. And they do it for so long. And they do it inside the house a few times.
Mm-hmm.
I was just going to say, they mentioned the director's commentary how they would constantly forget that, like, the scene is supposed to take place during the day, but if the shoot's going long, it might be night by the time you're done. And so they had to reshoot stuff multiple times, and they mentioned that the editors tried to fix this stuff in post.
Later on in the movie, when it's supposed to be nighttime, because it's like middle of the night, there are moments where you can see some of the light filtering in through like blinds, and you only see it for a second, and then the actor walks in and blocks it. But it's like, if you would have cut it seems like the framing was specifically to block stuff that they couldn't figure out how to block light. And it happens constantly throughout this movie when it's supposed to be night. You see little moments where people are strategically placed in front of something where there's obviously light coming in from outside.
Well, speaking of the exact opposite of that, we cut inside and we see the maid is in the kitchen doing something. Like her hands are off camera. We don't see anything that she's doing. So apparently it was an important blocking is for the birds.
It comes back later.
Does it?
What she's doing in the kitchen, possibly. I don't know. I have a note on.
I would love some insight when we get there.
She's cooking up in that kitchen. She's making like a.
Sorry, there's a hammer hanging on the wall in the kitchen for some reason. I don't. It just like
round stick. You got to pound it, don't you?
With the,
Maybe
with
they didn't
the
have a meat
claw
hammer.
No, that's an actual claw hammer.
You saw Ben. Ben doesn't really know a whole lot about that stuff. He knows about pleated slacks and he knows about giving really bad speeches. But when it comes to proper kitchen cutlery, he needs some work.
Maybe it's one of those things where it's like they're so rich, they're eclectic, so they want like weird shit on the walls.
Yeah,
like the giant sign that just says "giggle." I like that.
Oh, the house is decorated with words.
There's another one upstairs that says "laugh."
Yep.
So I was hoping there'd be like another one, like a chuckle or a hee haw.
They paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for those things in the hammer, because that's in the rich art world, anything is art.
Yep. That's a Banksy hammer.
So anyways, the little boy walks in and he calls the maid. I don't even know if she's been name checked as the maid, the mom. So this is the maid and her son. So we now know that this woman is working for Ben and Whitney Anderson, not in a catering capacity or as a friend capacity, but just a full-time employee. Fuck it. I wrote all these messages to the director, but I it's going to fall on deaf ears. I'm not even going to do it. So anyways, maid mom sends the son to get towels. And in one of the only interesting shots of the movie, if it had been done well, we see the camera set into this dark room. We know there's a space, but we can't really clearly see anything. The door opens. We see the little boy there. Okay, we're in some kind of closet. Turns a light on, grabs the white towels, closes the door, leaves the light on though, and we see as the door closes, there's a black mark on it. Ooh, It sounds like it would look really cool, but it is not. It's like somebody just like haphazardly spray painted the back of the door black.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know if you've ever been by any place where somebody tried to clean up spray paint, where they spray over it with, some black spray paint, but that's kind of what it looks like. The pattern is very indifferent and undistinct, but it looks like somebody went out and found some graffiti and just spray painted over it with black. Yep. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It's fuzzy looking. And
yeah. Like if they'd put some of that, like the mold texture that we'd already seen on Maggie on it, like, cause like there's like some, like, I don't know if it's like aqua green tint to it, just add a little bit more color to it. Also add a better light in the closet so we can more clearly see what's going on, but they probably wanted it to be dim because it looked like shit. So anyways, we're back with Ben and Whitney, and Ben finishes the call. And it was about Whitney's sister. And this really bothered me. I know I shouldn't put too much thought into it, but why? Because we established earlier on that Maggie was checked in on by that doctor because of the brother-in-law. So Ben, why is Ben handling the affairs of Whitney's sister? Why is Whitney not in charge of this? I don't understand this dynamic. You made a choice that is weird, and I'm hung up on it. You didn't have to do that.
Maybe because we saw Whitney's breakdown that the catering was crappy for this small get-together. Maybe Whitney, this is a huge deal for Whitney. Every year, it's the big New Year's Eve party. Everything's got to be perfect. And she just couldn't handle it mentally. And so Ben was like, I'll take care of your sister. Well, I got it. Because she was just
save.
I mean, they obviously they built up that she was really taking this party seriously to freak out so much over this food plate
slop.
And it's just their friends. I mean, yeah, when you invite your friends to a New Year's Eve party, you want it to be good food, but she freaks out in such a manner that you thought her life or her livelihood depended on the success of this party. And so I don't know.
Well, I appreciate that, Ryan. It helped me get through this. So anyways, I think I hope I had mentioned this earlier, but Maggie is in a mental hospital. This was discussed by the other three women earlier. So I don't understand also how at this point Whitney has not been quarantined. Why, if this is apparently like the next day, days later, and we see Maggie attack a doctor and possibly a nurse, unless she killed them and completely disappeared. I don't fucking know. No, she's in a mental hospital, so she was picked up. So
or was that the mental hospital that they visited?
Oh, fuck.
She was already in the mental home, and then she killed those two guys that day, maybe.
They
don't know yet, and they don't know yet. So maybe that's how they know they come there. Because the hazmat guys have to figure this out somehow. I don't think they just figured.
Egg on my face, Andrew. Of course that was a mental hospital and not just your fucking mom's house. Of course it was, dude. I look foolish right now.
You idiot.
You clearly didn't see the wash your hands poster on the wall. That made it obviously a mental home.
Well, I did note the no smoking sticker on the door. I assumed that was supposed to establish that this is like some sort of facility. Whatever. So anyways, we follow Helen walking up to the house. Every step, for some reason, is important. She's looking back at the sea. She's looking at the sky. And then we get this shot of like through the door from the inside. I think it's like to the kitchen or something, to the deck where she is. And blam, hard cut. Mrs. Wife is at the door mid-sentence. I was like, okay, this has to be like an issue with Plex. Went to the raw file. Nope. It's still there. Went to the DVD. Nope. Still there. Went to YouTube where there's a full copy of the film there. Same thing. On the director's commentary, not addressed. So something happened and they left it in there and didn't address it. But anyways, she's like mid-sentence. She's like saying something about like how she's glad I caught you before you left or something. And Miss Wife needs to talk to her in private. Did we ever get her name? What is her name?
I have no idea.
Whose name?
Edward's wife.
Oh, Lily.
Okay, I did not catch that.
That's one of the names that comes in way later.
Okay, so Lily.
When people start disappearing, characters start getting knocked off. That's when her character is a little bit more prevalent, and she says it. She's knocking on the door with a list and says, "Is this Lily? It's Lily." That's how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, Lily establishes that she needs to say something important to Helen in private. Cut away. Whitney is in a lime green bathroom taking pills, and she's scratching at a black mark on her back. Oh, no. Oh, it's happening. Fun little tidbit from the director's commentary. They painted that room specifically for this movie, that disgusting lime green color, because it was red, and they didn't want it to be red because they wanted to be able to see the blood. Wow.
Good job.
Yeah, you put effort where it wasn't needed.
So they chose green instead of like white.
Cut to Ben, Joseph, and Mike down at the party talking about one of Mike's books, how it wasn't as good as his latest work. Clearly, our writer-director has a bone to pick with people talking about his own writing in ways he disagrees with. And in the director's commentary, that pays off. He does mention that, how people like clearly didn't read his scripts and they had thoughts on it and notes on it. And it's like, maybe they didn't want to finish it, Andrew. If it's anything like Sickness House. But anyways, Ben then tells the maid, who he name checks as Cathy, to check on Whitney. Hey, Ben, do it yourself. She's your fucking wife, you dick. But anyways, Ben goes back to his he interrupts the conversation about the book stuff because Ben's an asshole. He's just an asshole, and possibly the actor. I just don't think I like whoever this Ben Anderson is in reality. I don't like any of it, like any part of it. So Cathy goes upstairs, walks into Whitney's room. We cut away again. And this is where I noted that originally Cathy had a husband. It was played by the director. Bing, bong, bing. They cut it. So Ben gathers all the party goers for a toast, and he's very adamant, like, king, 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 king. Get your fucking ass in here. I got some shit to say. Everybody's already...
He yells at people.
He does. Such a dick.
Nobody wants to be there. He's such an asshole.
Oh, and this is when we get a really good shot of Joseph's braid. It looks real good.
Got a profile.
So so we learned that this is Ben and Whitney's second New Year's party. He says something about how I hope it's better than the last one. It's not. He finishes toast, which is full of hints that this is actually New Year's Eve. So the title card or the date card at the beginning was wrong. You see Andrew. It's New Year's Day is the 1st of January. Just want to make sure I get that right. So Ben's toast about wanting to do better than last year is already full of holes because they're celebrating on the wrong day. Wrong. I'm done. Who is next?
That's me. Okay. Well, the maid is coming down the stairs. I think we're in the right place. I hope I picked up in the right place.
She goes up to Ben and whispers, right?
Well, I have it. She's already done that, and she's coming down the stairs. Yes. She's coming down the stairs to tell what's his name, and Mr. Anderson.
Ben,
Is that Ben?
Ben. Yeah.
That his wife is holed up in the room. The rat tail man mumbles something about bubbly, which I don't think that was actually. Yeah, I don't think that was actually important to anything at all.
Doesn't he say like it good bubbly this year or something?
I could not. I don't know.
He was improvising.
Yeah, he mumbles quite a bit. There's a lot of mumbling in this movie though. The maid and Joe or Ben, they go upstairs. And the guests are intrigued because there's some mumbles, some whispers about what's going on. The door opens just fine for Ben. So I don't know if it was locked or she just I don't know. But anyway, he goes into the room where his wife is locked up. His wife is just on the bed muttering and mumbling some more, like everyone. And hearing a knock on the door causes Ben to shit his pants, I guess. Because
I wish. Yeah,
he's very spooked by that. The Rat Tail Man, or RT as I have him here. I don't know what the etiquette was in 2006 for answering someone else's phone when you're in their house, but it comes up multiple times where this guy has answered their house phone to deliver a message. I mean, I guess it makes sense. The hosts are upstairs, but I don't know. Where's the maid?
She's also upstairs with them.
She's in the room wringing her hands.
If Tyler had a house phone and his phone was ringing, I would feel weird answering it. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe there's something I just don't know.
This is
different times.
It's a kind of etiquette that does it need to exist anymore?
Yeah, but also
because nobody has house phones.
Was that ever a? I don't know.
I get you.
If nobody else is answering the phone and it's your friend, you would answer and say, "Hey, Anderson residence," like you see on sitcoms and stuff like that. And I was also Now we have information. I don't know if we covered this. But we got information that Joseph is about to get a very big promotion at the company. Yeah. And we know that these are basically people that work with Ben. So perhaps he's already kind of Ben's right-hand guy at work, and it kind of bleeds over into real life.
Fill in the void.
And maybe he's used to that. He's so used to at work being Ben's right-hand man that when he's at his house, he's like, I got you. I'll get the phone while you're dealing with your wife. She's got a thing growing on her. I get it. I'm going to answer the phone.
So as Ben promotes Joseph, his hair grows and he gets more braids. And
yep. That wasn't the initial brainstorming thing on Phantom Menace on the making of. You see George Lucas brainstorm. He's like, well, maybe each braid can have a different color and
different levels you've achieved.
Yeah, different levels. Like a karate with belts. They abandoned that.
Ben is a funnier character than we've had before.
That is the key to everything. It works. The whole thing works. Kids are 11.
I wouldn't be surprised if Andrew said that to himself on the set.
I wish I had a Pizza Hut box with Ben on it, just like I do Jar Jar.
You have that.
Yeah.
I've got that. I've got a Pepsi can with his face on it.
Oh, I
like that, but I covet that pizza box with Jar Jar Binks on it.
Now, if there is ever a campaign,
remember when Taco Bell did that big campaign where it was the sickness house for a little bit, and it was like you're stepping into the sickness house? That was wild.
Well, I was gonna say if there ever is like a fast food campaign for something to promote, and they open it up to people to submit, we've got to get 4chan and Reddit and all the seedy parts of the internet to push Sickness House.
Yes.
I want to suck a beverage from Ben's pants.
Anyway.
And like Pizza Hut gave out those sunglasses. Maybe this dates me too, but when Back to the Future Part 2 came out, if you went to Pizza Hut for like $1.99 with every personal pan, you could get a replica sunglasses like the kids wear in Back to the Future Part 2. Maybe for Sickness House, you could also get like a headband thing that goes around the back where you could also have the pigtail.
Yeah, a clip-on braid or something. That'd be good.
Yeah. It'd be wonderful.
If anybody had asked me what we would talk about during the Sickness House recording, I never would have thought Pizza Hut promotion.
If you're gonna do a deep dive into Sickness House, you're gonna power through it. You gotta take little breaks.
Yeah,
I mean it's a fine discussion. A lot of goofs to be had, but you gotta space it out. You gotta get some Star Wars in there or something. Take a break. Anyway, the phone was answered. There's a Mr. Davies, I thought he said. Mr. Davies called, but he'll call him back. And he tells, Ben tells, okay, I'm guessing this is her name. I think we know by now. I don't really care about people's names because I feel like it means nothing in these movies. So I just have the damnedest time keeping track of who's who. But Ben tells Cathy the maid.
Yep.
Right. Okay. To go get his numbers from the study.
Yes.
I don't believe
Rolodex.
I don't believe that this man has a study in his home, and I don't believe that he has numbers. But he persists and tells Cathy to go get the numbers.
We do see the study later. We do.
Do we?
That's where the director is doing his vlogging.
Oh.
Or Victor the doctor.
I guess I just assumed it was another corner of the living room. And
Yeah.
everyone else was in there. It's like, everyone else is on the other side of the camera, like listening to how grim he is.
I do know that the basement of the home is the basement to the local community theater. I know that much.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if that study is not an actual room in that disgusting house. So Ben calls a man with a ponytail. This is where things get interesting. Another man with a ponytail. And the man is, I guess, rather disgusted. He says it's an odd time to call. And a banter goes on for way too long about
phone call
what to
etiquette.
do here. Yeah, so the ponytail man's kids look very amused by this phone call because we don't watch him. He goes off screen to have the conversation. Whenever we cut to his house, we see his wife and his kids trying to enjoy New Year's Eve, and his kids are just looking off into the distance, just amused that their daddy is getting a phone call from someone at, I don't know, 8:00 at night.
Can I give a little word of advice here to Andrew?
Please.
Andrew, this shot would have worked so much better if you had tracked with your character, Victor, because this is the director, the long-tail pony man. If you had tracked with him for a little bit and then slowly reversed back and did a slow zoom in on the family, because the wife looks at him a couple times in kind of sadness, but / frustration because she knows what's going to happen. This isn't the first time he's had to dip out in the night. And it's you could have really set that up because, and I don't even know why. I don't even know why. We're not going to call back to this shit one bit other than your dumb vlogs later. But at least it would have set up some emotional stakes for this character. When he leaves, we know he has left something behind.
Yeah.
And then he would have had to memorize the phone call, and he didn't want to have to do that part. I promise you that was it.
Well,
that was one bit of dialogue he was not going to have to memorize because he's like, well, I'm just going to read the phone call and they're not going to see me. He doesn't have to do his side of the phone call. That's one less thing I got to do.
Yep. You're right. Ryan's always right.
He always is.
I know my sickness.
He's the indie film whisperer.
I just come in 15 years too late. All these movies. If only you would have called me back in 06.
He goes from town to town, from podcast to podcast, explaining the dog shit plots that we can't comprehend.
Unfortunately, they have been calling you, Ryan, but your buddy Big Mike has been answering the phone.
Oh, wow, shit.
Ziegler residence.
I don't know how he got down here and got a hold of my cell phone, but how did I not see him?
Or I guess it could be Joe. It could be Joe.
Yeah,
it's just Joe.
No,
Joe
Joe's
just
on
routes
07
every phone call through him.
Well, speaking of people who ruin your night, Ben keeps insisting on ruining this man's pleasant evening in with his wife and kids on this holiday. Because Ben refuses to go to the hospital because it's too far away. Because Ben's a crybaby and he can't just go do something.
Like that's his issue. That is the issue at hand. Is that he doesn't want to have to drive Whitney to the hospital. He's got a party going.
I don't want to go to the hospital.
It's all the way over there.
Can you just come over?
I don't remember 2006 that well. We didn't have ambulances?
We didn't have cars.
We didn't have
we
any
didn't
modes
get
of
them
transport
for a while.
Just doctors. They only had.
It was all mine carts to the hospital.
Yeah,
Mine
carts or if you had a horse.
He left his there so he couldn't get it back. Yeah.
Everybody had the razor scooters.
Yeah.
But Ben had recently racked his shin bone and didn't want to ride it.
I'm done. Because he's such a stick in the ass. And Whitney was like, "You need to be more fun, like we were dating." So we got the razor scooter. All right, we're gonna go out to the park. We're having his fucking shin bone was, "I'm done. I'm done." He fucking hurled it into the lake, threw a big fit.
Is this when we finally?
Whitney's sister was there, and it was a whole thing. It was a big. They're like, fuck it, we're just gonna go. I'm just gonna go to Africa and do the feed the children thing, and then that's how this all started. If only he would have been nicer on the razor outing, they wouldn't have went and contracted the disease.
Nick, is this when we finally get the beginning? Not finally, but we get the beginning of the sordid past of our doctor, about the favor that he owes Ben.
Oh,
I don't know if it's mentioned in this initial call.
There's a mention of it in my thing, and I think I just ignore it because there's too much going on. You're asking too much of this
because that never pays off, right? It gets mentioned, but we don't know what actually happened, right?
No,
right.
Supposedly, Victor had a case that Ben and somebody else know about, and they've kept it secret. That
comes up when Dr. Victor finally comes upstairs. But anyway, he finally convinces Dr. Victor to end his night and his life and come over to their house. And Brian greets Dr. Victor and they mumble something some more.
Who's Brian?
Okay. I have my notes as Brian, the guy who looks like Brian.
Oh, Edward.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know the character, but he looks like Brian.
He does very much so.
Yep. The guests complain some more about their absent hosts.
Yes, which they have been for most of the time.
I guess I can't blame them too much, but also obviously something's wrong. So maybe don't be like a gossip and an asshole. They started talking about how what's her face is agoraphobic and this stuff.
I hate to interrupt, but I have to point this out. I'm looking at the shot of Edward and Victor talking, the doctor and mustache man, and there is I don't know what you call that, but it's like beads. Beads you hang in a doorway, and it's like
the Greg Brady.
Oh yeah. But it's not like puka shells or anything like that. It's like colored plastic, in different shapes, very multicolored. There's a picture of a sailboat and there's a kite on the right. Nothing about this screams New Year's Eve party.
Well, those are New Year's Day decorations. That's why. You clearly have never been to a New Year's Day party.
No, I'm always sleeping.
It's all sailor themed. Sailors and beads.
Hey there, sailor.
And it's like, I get it. You're in some probably older woman's house. She doesn't want you to mess too much stuff up. Just throw shit on top of it. Get some silver tinsel and put it around. Put hats on people. Just them holding a champagne glass does not tell me that it's New Year's.
I would love if through this whole movie everybody had 2006 glasses on or something, but like if they just keep it on and they get silly little top hats.
Yes.
I'm not gonna say that this is a zero effort production design movie, because it's not. There's some effort that's put into it. The payoff is I guess lackluster, but there is some effort put into it, no matter how shitty it is. However, none of that effort is put into making this look like a party.
No.
They couldn't even get figure out what a sandwich looked like. So.
Hold on. Nick, you're going to be eating crow, my friend, because I see at least 2 rotisserie chickens on that table.
Yep.
Oh, well, it's funny. Well, hold on. We already covered this part real quick, but just going along with the Ben being an asshole thing is when he gives his speech and you see everybody's toasting. The little boy, the maid's son, Abel, it turned out his name is Abel. He's toasting. They just gave him water. They couldn't give him soda. They couldn't give him juice. It's obviously just water. And so Ben is just like, no, fill this thing with water. I'm not giving him. There's no high C here. There's no Capri Sun. There's no just get fucking water.
Edward is a big liberal Democrat. He probably only gives him water. That maybe at best it was like a seltzer water, but he's not.
There's no bubbles. I looked.
No sody pop at night, Ryan. No sody pop. That's special occasions.
All night.
But he's got to be up till midnight.
Not him.
Not to watch the ball drop. It's because he's got to scrub the floors.
No, you only have to be up till noon on New Year's Day parties, dude.
Oh, it's New Year's Day. I keep forgetting. Yeah, that's right.
Oh wait, no. That's not Edward's kid. God damn it.
Ben. I'm just saying Ben was such a piece of shit that he wouldn't give the help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I missed that. Sorry.
Not
Scratch that joke.
Give the kid water.
The guests are complaining. We go upstairs, and Victor is just saying the obvious. Says she got a fever. I didn't need to come here at all.
Hold on a second, Nick. You have skipped something so important.
I usually do.
What happens when Victor starts going up the stairs? We cut to a shot aimed up the stairs. Ben walks onto the landing, and very stoically stands there and says, "Thank you for coming, Victor." It is so fucking weird. Why? Why did
Thank
they do
you
that?
for coming. What's
I'm sorry to derail it, but it was very uncomfortable
terrifying.
for me.
It really is. I'm looking at it now, and it's a terrifying shot.
What's the guy's name from Rocky Horror? The guy with the long hair.
Oh, Richard.
Riff Raff. Yeah, that's. Well, that exciting thing happens.
The show-stopping moment.
Anyway, Victor is telling him that his wife just has a fever and just take her to a hospital. If it gets worse, what do you want me to do? Downstairs, the maid. So here's the payoff. The maid is preparing a late game chocolate cake for the party. I have to assume that's what she's working on off screen in the kitchen, is a shitty chocolate cake. But she's trying. She's trying. She's wants to get this party going, so she's making that chocolate cake. Which is really the least you can do as a host.
So I'm sitting here laughing to myself, having just concluded WandaVision. And in episode 9 of WandaVision, there's the moment where Wanda is walking through town and realizing that all of the people that she was envisioning in her storybook, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s sitcom shows were just real people who lived in this town. And I can't help but think that, and maybe in about 2006, if I had walked around in Michigan, I'd walk by a grocery store, a liquor store, a Denny's. I'm going to see all of these people. These are just the most average people. That's so terrible.
Just off the street. You want to be in a movie? We're making one.
How are you memorizing? I'm great. All right, come on. No, you're fine with what you're wearing. Let's go. Because actually, in the special features, Alyssa auditions in the same dress she wears in the movie. So it was hers.
Yes.
How many
rotisserie chicken? We got a movie to make.
Go get a couple of Costco chickens. We're ready to go.
Absolutely. So she's downstairs making a cake, and she starts to hear a wooden ship creaking. That's what the sound. I don't know if it's meant to what sort of ghost or specter or
Well,
mental illness that's supposed to be.
The director's sound engineer brother bragged about how he took one door creaking sound and manipulated it, the speed and the pitch and everything to use it multiple times. So
yeah, well, great job, brother. But it sounds like we're in a pirate ship. So,
what's like the Santa Claus for New Year's Day? There's a New Year's Day bill. He shows up at noon on New Year's Day if you're having a party. That's why a lot of people don't know about him, because most people aren't having the party. He will show up and bring you kites.
What?
Yes.
That's the sound. It's like you hear the
New Year's Day Bill. He's like Santa, but he shows up on New Year's Day.
His name is Christmas Dave. Actually,
that's a deep cut there, Nick.
that's a deep cut. It's for the after show podcast. But anyway, upstairs, the doctor's writing a prescription, which I assume is like why the doctor didn't want to come out to his friend's party, because it sounds like, I don't know. I mean, it's obvious. Just go to a hospital. She's got a fever. She's fine. Give her an aspirin. But, maybe there's like a history of like, yeah, come over and write a prescription. We'll party. That sort of doctor. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't want to be involved. I don't know. He just seems so put off to the fact that his wife's or his buddy's wife might be dying, that like, maybe there's a boy who cried wolf here one too many times. That's just my theory. There's really nothing to back that up. But
cried quaaludes.
Yep.
What's saying is he's not even writing a prescription. He's writing down the name of another doctor if she gets worse to call. He's basically passing the buck. He's like, if she gets worse, call this guy. I'm out.
Well, he does say something about like I'm gonna leave something with you, but he doesn't like specify. It's very odd.
Yeah.
He just leaves a heroin needle on the floor.
Nah, it's a party. The wife, she is suddenly awake, and she sees the jack-o'-lantern man again. Well, maybe the first time this is the first time we're seeing that other people can see the jack-o'-lantern man, I believe.
Yes. She's so sick she sees him now.
Yes, which kind of says what happens with this disease. You see the thing. You see this jack-o'-lantern man when you get sick and other spooky shit. But no one else can see him, which I'll admit is kind of it's a spooky thing. And if he didn't look like a shitty jack-o'-lantern, I'd say this is a creepier scene. But the premise is there. It's not bad, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's because you end up attacking people very specifically. You keep attacking people who are fine or not sick or something. So it's almost like when bugs get like another bug in their brain and it forces them to like go into water so they die and stuff like that. Yeah, like I kind of got it. I'm putting too much thought into it. I got it.
Yeah, cordyceps. So she immediately attacks the doctor, and after subduing her, they find a black spot. She's got a black splotch on her. Let's see. Downstairs, the Greek chorus comes up the stairs, and they ask, "What was all that screaming?" The Stooges.
I love it because so much of this movie is 5 to 8 people have assembled, but you only need to convince one of them, and as soon as you convince one of them of something, they all agree everything's fine.
Yeah.
This movie's great.
Let's see. Okay, so now Victor answers the house phone because I don't know, it's beyond me. But he answers the house phone. I did not write down what happened, so fuck if I know. Oh wait, this is where. Never mind. I don't know.
Is this what we get the beginning of the CDC?
Yeah. Did they call the house? They're like, oh, I sure hope Victor answers. Like,
yeah,
because they clearly he's like in cahoots with the CDC, right?
Yeah, he knows something.
They call him up like, hey, you got a sick person there? It's us, the Center for Disease Control. You got to tell us. If you got a sick person, you got to tell us.
I listened back. I think it's a doctor that's working with Maggie, the sister.
Oh, right. So yeah, they explain this phone call. It's explained to him that the sister is also sick and just attacked 2 doctors. He says that in a little bit, but Victor, the guests are all trying to leave. And this is when it's revealed by Victor that the sister's in the hospital with the same disease, I guess. She just attacked some people. No one can leave. Everyone's pissed at this, but they don't put up a fight yet. They just accept it. Elsewhere, Victor mentions to, I think it was Ben, that this is like throwing a stone in a still pond. And goes, just kind of rambles a bunch of buzzwords, epidemic.
He wants them to keep him calm.
Yeah. He says that the CDC they're coming to bring a vaccine, which
a temporary vaccine, I think they say. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know how vaccines work. You got to take care of it for now.
To his credit, he's lying to them. So that's good. Because if the movie actually said that would be dumb. But apparently he's in on it. Because I wrote that down like, that's stupid. But then he redeems it, I guess. Anyway.
But the thing is that like we are going through a pandemic right now. And it's like, I don't know how I would keep any of these people in a house, like other than lying to them straight up and just be like, oh, don't worry, the Cure is on its way. Like the band The Cure is going to be here in an hour. They're going to play. They're going to play when the ball drops.
That'd be great. So Brian, I don't know his real name. He's really trying to leave.
Edward.
Edward Brian. He is trying to get out of the house. He accuses the doctor of lying, and he goes outside. Just then, well, the hazmat guys, they show up. All of his family is telling him, get in the house, without no questions, no nothing. The guy in a hazmat suit just guns him down, shoots him dead in cold blood in front of his wife and son.
Nick, you are underselling this so much.
It's an assassination.
I fucking climaxed during this. Okay, this is going to be a full benevolent. This is going to be a beyond benevolent. I want this to be in the Malevolent Movies Hall of fucking Fame, guys, because you know me.
A new rating.
Yes, you know that I'm damaged goods, okay, and that I love this shit. I love the really rough, raw writing. Oh God, I know. When Andrew was typing this out, he was, yes, it's my magnum opus. Oh, and then he got the cast together, and these guys, you know that in their heads and hearts, they're acting their asses off. But to us, it doesn't look like that at all. And it's all coming together. And this is supposed to be this big epic moment where this man, he's begging his wife to go with him and the baby, come with me, while the CDC man, the government, big government's behind him. And Victor, he's corralled everybody. Edward, come back. Oh. And then boom, gunshot through the back and blows out his heart. And he goes down. Guys,
then he gets 2 more shots, twice more.
He gets double tapped.
Yeah.
This was a mafioso kind of gangland slaying. This wasn't like soldiers hired by hazmat with whatever. And we've seen that in movies before. We saw that in the Bird movie last year.
Oh yeah, Officer whatever.
Oh God.
Yes.
Yeah.
But this guy just had a handgun. Very little warning, shoots him right in the back, and then boom, 2 in the back of the head while he lays there. I mean, it was not your normal, it didn't feel like your normal government type of scenario in these contagion type movies.
At no point
I loved it.
At no point do the CDC feel like real government people, because then, like, right after this, everyone scurries inside and they grab a piece of, like, one sheet of plastic with some duct tape on it, and they're like, quick, cover the door.
Wait, are you telling me that they don't drive around in, like, 94 red minivans?
I really want to see the one who's cutting all the perfectly square pieces of plastic. For like, he's like, what do you need, a 2x4? I got it. And he pulls out his scissors and he's like, we can't waste an inch,
safety scissors.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, just shit you put on your windows in the winter when they're drafted.
Yes.
I squealed so loud at that. At the 3rd time of me watching it, I was on the ride and Lisa was like, what the fuck is going on in the living room? I was just having so much fun. Sickness house, guys.
You got that sick?
I'm sick.
Well, he's dead. He's dead.
Yeah.
But that commotion dies down. Everyone gets kind of bored. The maid is in her room or in her son's room, comforting him. Because I don't think he was there to witness the murder, but he heard it. He hears the commotion. They hang up a single sheet of plastic to seal them in, seal their fate, seal them in their tomb. And then this next scene, there's a weird thing going on. When they're all in the living room, post murder, post assassination. I listened to this whole movie with my headphones on, so I heard it in crisp stereo.
Yes.
It's fucking weird. Whatever sound design is going on here, it's like there's a mumbling that like keeps going. It's very subtle, and it's almost like
I hated it.
It's not meant to be paranormal at this point. I think this is meant to be the sounds of like the agents and the government outside the windows.
Yeah, especially the walkie-talkies. Just get more sheets of plastic. We got one open over here.
Yeah,
like Home Depot.
just imagine like in your ear ASMR. Just
plastic sheet.
They were probably they were just playing The Sims at the same time they were editing. And they maybe accidentally got some of that.
Slorpo.
Ripsy Bonica 2.
They're also way too calm now, right? Like,
no, yeah, they don't care.
Like they just saw his chest explode, and all of them, including his wife, is just like, so, what should we do next?
Next move. What do we got going? I mean, we still got the rest of New Year's Day to party.
Oh, the emotions in this movie don't exist. They're either calm or they're yelling. And either way, none of the actors earn any of these emotions. They don't build them. It's like if the director didn't tell these guys what to do, they're not doing it. There was nothing between the lines. There was no acting between the pages or anything. It was like if the director didn't say, okay, guys, you got to be scared here. They're not thinking, oh, maybe we should be scared here because our friend just got his ass blown out. There's none of that. It's raw. That's one of the reasons the things that's great about Sickness House is it is as amateur as it gets. Nobody knows what they're doing.
Well, inside in the post assassination, I think it's Ben. They're all sitting down, and he says, "It's been a long day for all of us." And I have to assume, and he says, especially for your dead husband, it was a long day for him too.
It's a lot shorter for him.
Yeah,
we had the shortest day on everybody.
Yeah. His day ended his party ended early.
Yeah, and I mean I'm just gonna say that's where my part ends because it's a lot.
Yeah, and they're hanging out. They're talking about what they should do, and the doctor says, "Let's wait," and then the clock stops working, and that's for some reason like grabs everybody's attention. Like they can't continue the conversation if the clock is not moving.
I assume that they were trying to establish that everybody is just so tense that you could hear a pin drop, but you heard the clock stop.
Yeah,
and
maybe
you also want to show that it was after midnight.
Right.
Oh yeah, that's really why it happened.
It was the time passing.
Yeah.
So in this New Year's Eve movie, why is the thing that makes New Year's Eve special, it turning to the new year at midnight? Why is that not a thing? Why is that not played for not even like a good bit, like a bit? Why didn't he get bang 12 rounds at 12 midnight? Come on. If you're going to make a piece of shit, make a piece of shit. Make it fun. Make it fucking gross. Yeah, fuck you. 12, bang, 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 bang.
Cut back and forth between the ball dropping and then his body spins around and the ball hits and then his fucking skull hits and then two more slugs in the back of the cerebellum.
Little Abel is upstairs watching it on the tube TV. And when everybody starts cheering is when the gunshots go off.
You could have fireworks going off. Like there's so many things you could do, and that would have required a budget or coordination
or thinking.
So they give the old clock a couple of taps, and it gets back on, which is Thank God. And then that's when the maid comes tumbling down the stairs. She has been viciously attacked with 3 gashes on her forehead. Small ones, but and then she tries to get out the door, but plastic wrap, So she gets trampled on by I also, like Nick, I have 0 names written down. I just went off of their
Whitney's
character.
on top of her attacking her.
Yeah, so Whitney attacks. And then it looks
like Victor and Ben, like the main guys, are trying to pull her off.
Yeah, so they swarm to try to get her off, and then like the hand hits that they loved this shot. They were like, yeah. It's like the hand, it's from outside, the hand hits the plastic, blood everywhere. More blood than probably came out of the maid.
Well, and they don't even hold on the shot. It's like there for like a half a second.
Then it cuts to the guys outside.
Yes.
And they're like ironing. They're like making sure the plastic's flat because there's too many creases. Like, oh, this is going to look good in the news. Like,
I wish we
they killed a guy.
Yes.
That whole thing, like in Star Wars, I hate to bring up Star Wars all the time, but in Star Wars, the famous scene in the first movie where the 2 stormtroopers are talking about the new vehicle, you could have had a few hazmat guys. So what do you think, taking odds on how many people are going to die inside or something?
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't want to humanize these guys, but
you know what, Andrew, when you realized that you couldn't get enough actors to play the husband of the maid, or even like if there was a significant other to Blondie, whatever her name is, that would have been a great story on the outside, is them realizing that somebody they loved was on the inside. And what do? Do they help them get out? What's going to happen? And then you could add another 21 minutes to your movie to make it 90.
Yep.
Oh yeah, you could have had Alyssa. That's the single girl. She could have said something about, oh yeah, Steve wanted to come tonight, but he's on call, and then
he's on quarantine call.
And then you see Steve pull up, and he knows the house. He's a hazmat guy. He's like, no, Alyssa is in there, and then it's and
then they could have an emotional sex scene up against the plastic.
Yeah, through the plastic,
just humping.
Yeah. And he's got like what you see one
tiny little hole.
One arm of his hazmat suit is limp, and you see the front stomach just go poof, 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 she's beating it.
God damn it.
Script doctors to the rescue.
He's like, but the problem is, I taped the ankles down, so this shit's just gonna pull. But whatever, I love you.
Oh,
sickness house.
Now my house is the sickness house.
Get out of here, Joe Buckley. What are you doing?
Yeah, what the fuck?
It's like a ghost. He came over my body for a few minutes.
All right. He's right behind you, like Swayze with the fucking floating. Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
He's holding your hand right by the microphone. All right. So, Doc, and I have is it Ben?
Ben Anderson and Whitney Anderson.
I got him as white bread in my notes because he's just like the most white bread, boring guy.
Yeah.
So I got Doc and white bread they tied up the wife, and they're talking about the maid. Now the Padawan decides when Ben decides to come downstairs, and the Padawan asks, "Is she safe?" And Ben's pissed. What do you mean she's safe? She's safe. Like, is she not gonna die, or are you guys safe from her? Like, he's really offended about this. Well,
I think that Andrew felt very strongly like this is a great moment to it's like a gotcha for the people in the movie, but also the audience, because it's like, are you trying to keep her safe from herself, or are you trying to keep us safe from her?
Yeah,
and
it's like Rorschach in The Watchmen. Who's locked in there with who?
Yeah.
Oh my God,
that's the question. Yeah.
Where's Anakin? Because he's gonna come murder my ass.
So the doc he goes to tend to the maid's wounds, and he's basically like, you're gonna make it. Again, you don't need a doctor for this. But he tells the kid, I'm sure if you keep your eye on her, she's gonna make it all the way through the night. Which tells me he's not even convinced they're gonna he straight just told the kid she won't live through tomorrow. But if you're here, she'll make it through tonight.
You avert a single eyeball, she's gonna die, boy.
Exactly. Put a lot
and
of.
Also, if you notice, what bedroom is she? The maid that lives there with her son is hurt. You think she would be lying in her own bed, but she's laying in her kid's bed. Or is Ben such a cheap piece of shit that they both sleep in one children's room, or maybe they both sleep in that one little child bed? But I mean, that stood out to me.
Ben sleeps in that closet from earlier where he got the linens. Okay, she sleeps in that little bed.
That was his bed he took out.
Yes. Go get your bed sheets, please. So then it's Betty bye time. You know, they've had a long day, so they got to get ready for bed. So they all put on their favorite $10 pajama pack that they bought at Walmart with the plaid bottom and the plain top, or vice versa.
Oh, so much plaid. Everybody's got plaid.
So
on.
much. Because they definitely bought this. Like, they went to Walmart, they grabbed the 10 bundles of different pajamas, and they were like, that's fine, we got them covered. Why did they have to change clothes? Did they pack?
Dude, Ben and Whitney they are rich, guys. Don't forget. They have a walk-in closet specifically for pajamas. So Ben has like 10 pairs or 20 pairs of the same pajama pants and shirt just hanging there. And Cathy dresses him every day slowly because Ben asked for it to be slow.
So the guests prepare for bed, and this is another point where they're trying to sell us, the audience, that Ben's rich by saying,
I'm sold.
They have better sheets in the spare room than we have in our whole house, right? Mm-hmm. And then the writer gets into a fight with his girlfriend, just because.
He's a big time writer too.
Yeah. Oh, he writes a lot. He's always writing.
2 books.
Yeah. And so they get a fight, and he's like, I'm out of here. I got to talk to the doctor. And so he goes, and the CDC has breached containment to stand in the kitchen and talk to the doctor.
Yes.
What's the point of sealing the whole house with plastic and duct tape if you're just going to waltz in there right into the kitchen?
And also, why did you take time to set up phone decorum in this film? We know how the phones work in this universe. Use them.
Well,
and they disconnected the phones at that point. The CDC would have.
Probably.
Oh, all right. Well, or they could just make it so you can't call out, but you can call in.
Yeah. And then everyone has a chance to answer the phone. But then, so then there's like a confrontation.
Hold on a second. I would have loved that if they called in to talk to Victor, but everybody else slyly picks up the phone slowly so he doesn't hear, and you get like the grid of like 8 faces all listening in on the call, like a sleepover.
Oh, that'd be so good. Oh, and this is where I noticed. So there's the confrontation between the writer and the doctor, and the word giggle. This is where I first noticed giggle, because it's right above the writer.
Yes.
Right? And he's getting all smarmy. He's like, whose side are you on, Doc? You know, like, and giggles just right there. But then we caught up to his girlfriend. She's in the bedroom doing her thing, ready for bed, and she sees the frog jack-o'-lantern boy. And she reaches for and either very quickly disassembles a lamp with one hand, unplugs it from the wall, and grabs the remainder minus a light bulb, or there was already a disassembled lamp already unplugged from the wall minus a light bulb sitting on the bedpost. One of those two things happened.
Zach, that was their 1K.
They're like, well, great, we're not going to light the next scene. That's fine, whatever.
Now, guys, I'm going to interrupt you for a second. The director kind of took, I don't think he meant it this way, but on the outside it looks like took pot shots at a specific actor in this film, and how it took a lot of work to get them to where they were, but it wasn't even as good as they wanted them to be, that they struggled. They just weren't a very good actor. Which actor do you think?
Performance he wasn't happy with?
Yes.
Which one?
Only one that he talked about several times. He might have pointed out little things about individuals, but this person consistently came up. Which character do you think he was talking about?
The writer.
Was it the writer?
Because maybe the writer is a surrogate for him. Well, so the writer was him.
Oh, so he wants it to be better.
Yes, that makes so much more sense. But he kept giving that guy a hard time, and I'm like, he's fucking better than Ben.
Yeah.
He's fine.
You know, he actually tries to show some emotion and tries to hit, he's one of the few actors in the movie that tries to get to the emotional part that's written in the script without just, okay, now I'm mad. Okay, now I'm supposed to be happy. Like when he's in the basement arguing, you see him trying to act those emotions before he blurts out the words, Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So for some reason, but he's trying.
Yeah, Andrew was, but I like that concept that you're thinking of. That this is the surrogate for me, so you got to get this right.
That was him.
This movie's getting Zigglered. All right. So she has this lamp portion again. It's so weird that this is the weapon that they decided to have her grab. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense at all.
You're in a house filled with sea shit. There could have been like a fucking paddle on the wall.
There was a hammer in the kitchen.
I wish
What,
it
a
had
harpoon?
a
Yeah.
stuffed pelican she could have grabbed and been swinging by the beak.
So she follows the demon thing, and then it grabs her. She swings at it and disappears. She takes a couple more swings just for posterity, and that's when every single person in the house.
The Greek chorus.
One at a time. What's going on? I got attacked. What's going on? I got attacked. Hey, what's going on over there? She got attacked. Like,
head pops it from the left.
yeah. It's actually absurd. And then like Ben steps out and he's like, I hope everything's okay in this hallway. As if he wasn't in like right there. And the doc and the Padawan and the writer decide they got to go check out the room. They do. Nothing. Nobody in here. And this is where the doctor starts to get suspicious. Is there anyone else in the house, Ben?
So, yeah, there's this reoccurring thing where you have to question somebody like 5 to 8 times. Is there another person in this house that and they say that specifically, is there another person in this house that we aren't aware of? Is there another room in this house that we aren't aware of? And it's like, what the fuck? Did you just watch a movie where somebody did that better? I don't get it. Like, why?
He just thinks that's drama. He thinks that's drama. It's the questioning. And this person's going to question. This person's going to deny. Are you sure? He thinks that's creating conflict.
Yeah,
it's just bad, right? It's like amateur writing is what it is.
Well, and what's like in a better movie, there is a secret, but it's not the secret that's the problem. But there is no secret here. Ben is also confused.
He seems
Ben's like, I don't think so.
Are there any party supplies here that we're not aware of?
How many CDC people have snuck in here? Like, it's absurd. And
why did the food get rotten that quick? Holy shit.
Yeah. I had a serious question about the passing of time in this movie at that point. We'll get to that when we get there.
Yeah.
Turned into silver cotton candy. All of it.
So the doctor's like, we got to go check the basement because they start to hear some noises again, right? They hear like the scratching, the creaking, and all that jazz. So they go to check the basement. And that's when they head down there. The writer and the doctor go down there.
Ryan, you killed me, dude. I just pictured they used steel wool for it, and the poor kid, the adults kept calling it silver cotton candy, but that poor boy Abel actually ate it. That's why he disappears for 30 minutes because he was in the hospital.
He's like, this cotton candy tastes like blood.
It's like pennies.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
So anyway, we head back to the basement where the writer and the doc, they decide to take this one. And the writer confronts the doctor and he's like, hey, like, are we being watched? Do they care? Or what is their plan here? Are they going to just observe us as we all die? And the doc's like, dude, I don't know what you're talking about. I got to go upstairs. And
this was a big screw up in the dialogue. This is one of those times where I feel that one of the actors said the line and then just redid the line and they just left it in. Because it doesn't make any sense when he says that, when the writer says that.
Yeah.
Are they just watching us or are they just waiting to watch it? It doesn't make any sense what he says.
No, it's just a big mess of like, are they or aren't they? But are they, aren't they? And it's like, I don't know. And that's why the doctor literally is like, dude, why would I be here if whatever you're trying to ask me was the case? Because I don't know. And then he finds a camera, it's a video camera, and he's like, I got to go. I got a thing. So he goes, he like leaves right after this. So forget the noise in the basement. We don't care about that anymore. We have to go record a memoir. And he does. And it goes too long. And he mentions the air getting thicker. He mentions that he loves his wife and his kids, and he thinks he needs to prepare some more blood. He even says, like, I don't know if there's any reason for it. And it reminds me of an American movie with Mark Borchardt says, he's like, I got him out there putting up scarecrows for God knows why. There's no pragmatic purpose to the film. And that's what this feels like. He's just like,
the idle hands are devil's playground.
Yes.
Yeah, just keep him busy.
The doctor's like, he's doing it with himself. He's like, I've been comparing blood all fucking day. I don't know why.
This sets up this world of him. He just keeps interrupting people to take their blood. Hey, yeah, it's me again. We roll up your arm. Maybe we'll do the left arm this time. All right. He's just taking everyone's blood. Nobody knows about it.
This is the scene.
Why he doesn't even know why he's doing it.
Well, at the end of the movie, they catch him in a bathtub filled with all the blood. But this is the scene in the director's commentary where they talk about how like I think there were 2 or 3 editors on this. And basically, they just kept whittling this scene away until it was just like they said, like 5 or 10 seconds. And this was the scene that the director fought for with the producer. The producer really wanted it. I wouldn't be surprised because the producer's a female, if this is like a relationship or something like that. Well, my producer says to the editor, we got to keep this in. So I don't know. That's what she says.
Well, because he came up with the idea of Sickness House initially while he and his producer were at the movies months before.
Okay.
So they were hanging out socially. So the producer's more than just a producer to Andrew Patrick Torres. There is a personal relationship. And I wouldn't be a stretch to think that it could have been romantic.
Sharing blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, after he records this, we go back to Ben. He's upstairs. His wife is sleeping. You know, she's been through a lot. And he's like, I gotta go. And this is where the voice overlay happens for the first time. And it's like, don't go, Ben.
Oh my God! This reminded me of when John C. Reilly used to play Sasquatch on the Tenacious D movie.
Yeah, dude, it's just like literally like, and she's not moving or anything. He's like, I gotta get out of here.
Don't hurt yourself.
Don't do it, Ben.
But it's like 2 layers. Like,
Yes.
and like some are stretched and some are pitched. It was.
And again, if you listen to it with headphones on, it's all in your brain.
It sucks. Yeah, because I did too.
They do a panning thing. They do a left
they
ear,
do.
right ear thing. It's not a bad idea for an effect if properly used, but it wasn't.
Sure.
That Dolby 5.1 surround to utilize it.
If you saw Sickness House in IMAX, you would have been blown away.
Release the Torres cut. HBO Max to the rescue.
I want to see Ben's Dockers pleat. I want to see those pleats. You can see right into the folds.
Dude, Ben's pants are so tight. Like they're both loose and tight at the same time.
They're tight around the waist but loose in the leg. They're boot cut.
Yeah.
Boot cut.
They found the only pair of boot cut Dockers in town. And they're like, fuck it, put it on this guy.
You never see his feet, but he's also wearing cowboy boots. It was a strong decision.
It was supposed to be a cowboy themed party, New Year's Day. You wear cowboy boots. And that was part of the reason he was an asshole, is he's the only one that wore the boots. And he's going to be uncomfortable all night long.
All billionaires wear boots. Elon Musk is constantly wearing boots.
All the time.
Well, that's what keeps him relatable. You see the billionaire in the cowboy boots, you're like, he's just like us.
Oh, my God. Well, Ben's boots are made for choking, and that's what he's gonna do. So he gets tired of his wife. He's done with this. This is too much. So he goes in the bathroom, he empties out the trash, and he uses the trash bag to kill his wife.
Well, is the voice telling him to do it?
I think so. I think.
Okay, I can't remember what it's saying.
That's what I got.
Because he empties the garbage.
Come on,
Come on, you can
don't
do
you
it.
want to, Ben? Kill your wife.
Just kill him, Ben.
Dump the garbage out first because it would be disgusting to choke her with the garbage shit still in there, which I wish you would have. That would have been even more grotesque.
Yeah.
Like there's all toilet paper there and tampons and he puts it over her head. That would have been a grotesque moment for Sickness House. Sickness House really would have said, okay, now we're not fucking around.
Yeah.
We're getting it, but
Shit's
I'm
real,
tearing
man.
up over here.
The actor would be like, no, come on.
Yeah, that's Ewy.
I'm laughing so hard I'm crying, guys. Sickness House for the win.
So, the rest of the group, they're in the downstairs. They're just watching TV. You know, like at a time like this, they don't have cable. Like,
Yeah.
like I want to watch Frasier, and we have to watch the news. Like, is now the time to try to distract yourself? Right.
And to be that irritated about not having cable when you realize you're probably going to die from a weird virus when you were just going to go hang out at this asshole's party for 3 hours. Now you're stuck. You're that worried about not being able to watch, Svengoolie. I get it. I get it.
To speak to what you brought up earlier, Ryan, Veronica is the one with the remote, Joseph's wife or girlfriend. And they tell her to think Ben tells her to change the channel, and so or it might have been Lillian or something, and she's like okay, and so as she's holding the remote, she goes bloop bloop, and she lowers her hand, bloop bloop, I'm changing channel, bloop bloop.
Also,
it's heavy when it shoots out.
Lily, is that the name of the wife of the guy who got shot?
Edward, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
With the Sometimes a real baby, sometimes a doll.
Lily seems more upset that they've shut the TV off than she did that her husband got shot through the chest and then twice in the head. She genuinely is just like, oh, come on. We wanted to know what was happening in the house. Oh, it's our house. Like, but then this is where one can assume the CDC has provided the doctor with food for everybody.
Yeah, there was that doctor that came in.
That's what he was giving him.
Yeah, he brought in food and he brought in supplies that he uses to test the blood. We find that out in a little bit. That's why the guy was inside. It was to provide food and supplies.
Mike says something about how it's like astronaut food. It's just a fucking frozen dinner, dude.
In their head, in the actual script, in the script, they're like, procure 12 MREs. And someone said, best I could do is 8 Hungry Mans. Is that okay? And they're like, yeah, whatever. That's fine. We'll take the packaging off. They can all have Hungry Man. But don't give the fucking kid a brownie. I get the brownie.
Hungry Man, because the kid is eating a turkey Hungry Man later, and it's obvious they took the plastic wrap off, but because of it makes no sense to microwave because they're not eating it. It's still frozen. The mashed potatoes are a block, a square block in the thing, and it's just like they didn't even try. No, also, practically they weren't going to cook it, but still, I mean.
So I know we haven't gotten to the real meat of the time frame question here when we actually see food start to turn. But is this still like the night of? Like, why can they not eat the food that's already there? Is that the issue? They're concerned.
The catering was all fucked up. They're gonna eat that.
But what about the food that was on the table later? There was a point where you see mashed potatoes, and rotisserie chickens. Like, why?
They had dessert and wine.
Listen, they're hungry.
Well, and then I do like that the ones like you said, he mentions that it's like, this looks like it's ready to go to space. And then the Padawan's like, it's good enough for astronauts. It's good enough for me. And it's like, okay, like, again, we could have just probably cut a lot of the fat here, but it's fine.
You don't cut Bruce Boatwright's lines.
My bad, you're right.
I mean, he auditioned wearing a shirt that said Shamrocks, which is some sort of local company. I mean, that's what a professional actor. Yeah. He showed up to an audition wearing just some T-shirt he got for free from the local radio station. I mean, he was, you don't question him and his choices.
So then they decide to send what's her name? What's the Padawan's wife? What's her name?
Veronica.
Yeah.
They decide to send. She's like, I'm going to take some food upstairs to anybody up there who's sick. I'll take some water and stuff.
It's just the blonde. We got the blonde up there.
So she goes up there. Comes running down. She's locked herself in the room. And everyone's like, oh, God, we better all go. Yeah, all of us better go up there. The TV doesn't work anyway. This is the entertainment. So they all run up there, and the doc is like, this is probably one of my favorite parts of the movie because they're like, let's bust down the door. He's like, no, we got a lot to worry about, not doors. And then he's like, he spends the next couple minutes trying to convince her they're not going to hurt her in a way that makes it sound like he's definitely going to hurt her if she opens the door. Because
I'm not gonna hurt you.
He's like,
if you could open the door, everybody on the other side just wants to help you. We want to hold you.
Yes.
I just need another sample of your blood.
He's just like, he's literally like, hey, we're going to leave. Don't worry. We're definitely leaving. We're going to leave food here. You can open the door, but I half expect him to be like, all right, guys, stand back. Stop. Here we go. Like, because he says it like 3 times, and then again, Ben pops out of the next room and is like, "Hey, what's going on next door to me?" And everyone's like, "Oh yeah, she's still locked in there from when I said it 20 seconds ago." He's like, "All right, keep it down. My dead wife's in here." And then like, that is, I believe. Oh, and then the doctor's like, everyone else leaves, and the doctor's like, "We're gonna leave her in there." Hey, Ben. I need a little bit more blood. I want to compare it to the old blood.
Yeah.
And that's the end of my segment. It's just, I need your blood, or I need more of her blood, please.
I've got to say, so Victor, our director, Andrew, his acting is like, it's not better than anybody else's in this film, but there's so much intent behind what he says.
Yeah.
it's like you can see the director's eyes inside the mask of the acting, and I love it. And I think that's why like you keep getting repeated things, because Ben pokes his head out and he's like, hey, what's going on? He's like, everything is fine. We don't need to be worried about her. She's in the room. She's fine. We've given her food. Everything's going to be fine in there. And it's like he's just like reiterate. And I'm
because he's talking to the audience.
Yes, I'm lapping it up.
As the director in his mind, he's talking to the audience with his performance.
Andrew, come take some blood from my ding dong. It's too big.
That's what the part of sickness house is. You're just engorged and it goes nowhere. No matter how many times you pull on it in your hazmat suit.
By the end of the movie, I was like that woman in Slither, Billy, I'm just so fucking hungry.
Just want some of that astronaut food.
Yeah. Good enough for astronauts.
Good enough for me.
Who's up?
It's me. So they leave the food on the floor for her, like a bottle of water and a pack of, I don't know, lunch meat or something.
And a spoon.
They head downstairs, and we see that Veronica is very upset. Alyssa's gonna die in that room. We're all gonna die in this house. It's finally getting to her. This is finally getting to someone after hours of being trapped here.
After seeing their friends blown away too. I mean, that's the real thing right now in their lives, and they're not taking it super seriously. They're more annoyed than anything.
Right. So Joseph, her husband, tries to calm her down. Hey, remember, hey, it's going to be okay. Okay. Remember when we beat that chicken pox outbreak back in high school?
As if the two are comparable.
I was going to say hardly the same thing. One is a rash. The other one is making you go crazy and turn into an Evil Dead thing. And guys are shooting.
It's like if your friend was pinned under a semi and you're like, hey, come on. Remember that nasty hangnail in 8th grade? Buck up, kiddo. Like, it's going to be
cut
fine.
in half on the side of the road, and I'm like, hey, man, remember that time you shit your pants? You're going to get through this. It's going to be fine, buddy.
Joseph is a lot of things, but he's not very good at making people feel better.
No. So she decides that she's gonna, you know what? I'm gonna go upstairs and talk to Alyssa, the person we just said we're gonna leave alone, because it's gonna make me feel better if I do this. So she does that. She goes upstairs. And she keeps she's oh, it's me. What can I do? And there's a sound that I swear to God, I thought someone farted on set, but it's one of those creaky old like pirate ship noises that I think Nick was talking about earlier. And it's the door at the end of the hallway, which is like where Whitney has been the whole time. I assume it's their master bedroom, with the weird lime green walls and all that in the bathroom. So she thinks, she's like, oh, maybe it's Ben. I'll go. She goes down there. And as she walks the, 5 feet, we cut back to Ben coming up the stairs and like all the lights are down. And he just like slowly turns the camera and looks real creepy. And then we cut back to her and she's, Veronica's in the bedroom. She sees Whitney, goes over to her, touches her, kind of like, tries to shake her awake or something, and then realizes that she's dead. And at that point, Ben is in the room and has shut the door behind him. So now she's trapped in here with Ben.
Yeah.
He says, Ben says that he was trying to kill her, but she just won't die. And it's not his fault what happened to her. And we see a little flashback of him like beating something. I obviously must be Whitney.
Oh wait,
but I don't think
sorry,
we ever actually see.
Sorry,
her.
did we skip the part where Ben sees what's on what's his nuts Victor's notepad?
Oh God.
The chance of getting out 0%. It should be right around here.
Okay. Trevor's part is after this. So I just noticed something because I paused on it. So there's a blood vial on a notepad, and Ben looks down at it because I don't know what they were talking about, but the blood sample bullshit. And there's in a big square that's all scratched out. It says chance of getting out 0, but then there's more underneath it. Why is Ben not sick? Exclamation point. It's a question, but fine. Exclamation point. It is traveling through the air. Misspelled traveling.
Well, he's in a hurry. He's got to get more blood.
Yeah, I can't see what it says. Then it must have something that it is growing is not worth focusing. I don't know. But
Are
anyways,
these just his script notes at this point?
Chance
Not
of
worth
assimilation
focusing.
between fly and human, 100%.
What is the weakness?
But why? Okay, if you were crunching the numbers and you said 0% chance of survival, that includes yourself. Why are you taking a note that says that you don't need it for later, and the chances of somebody finding it are pretty high?
Yeah.
And he
'Cause we needed to
highlighted
see it.
I know, but come on.
It's not that kind of movie, kid.
He's not a great doctor. He's not a great doctor. We know this.
There was a point where he was like, I'm going to have to refer to this figure later. I better write it down. And then he wrote it down as a good doctor would.
Of course.
And in science and in medicine, is anything 0%? Really?
No.
Isn't there always a point, something percent of
Probably.
almost anything?
You would
well,
think.
like Doctor Strange, he saw the 14 million and 6 different variations of time and how they got out of this situation, and only one of them worked, and they already
Only
passed
one
it.
of them?
Yep.
Abel was supposed to get shot, not Edward.
Oh, jeez. That other terrible thing was supposed to happen. Oh, boy, where am I? Oh, so, yeah, Ben says there's a secret place that he knows and that they could escape. But Veronica is, like, not really having it. She's not really buying into it. And she, like, hits him with a lamp or something. I couldn't really see
it's like a
what
little
it was.
vase or like a clay pot thing.
It's some tchotchke thing, something heavy she grabs and tries to beat him over the head with it. But most of the fight is off screen because we keep cutting back to Alyssa, who's just like huddled up, like, oh god.
Yeah,
and we hear it like she's hearing it. Ben overpowers Veronica eventually and stabs her to death, and they spray some ketchup on the door.
I have questions here. I have questions. One, is he stabbing her with a syringe?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
2,
There was a syringe from earlier.
2, what we see as the audience is he's going down to stab her, and then as he pulls up, he's squirting blood out of the syringe. So is he killing her by slowly taking blood out with the syringe, or was that to get the effect of blood sputtering?
That was 100%. We have no other way to do this, and
They
it's
was taking the
probably
blood out,
4 in the morning.
Because she's all desiccated like a mummy later on in the one scene. She looks like a Temple of Doom, where that thing on the spikes in Raiders.
Yeah.
All desiccated. Spider on
Oh
her.
my god. Yeah. And then we see a shot of Whitney's body, it like sitting upright in the bed,
but not tied. She's
not tied, but
the,
like
the
sitting.
knots are on the edge of the bed, but her arms aren't slung in them. She's free or something.
Yeah. Then we immediately cut back downstairs. And Joseph is checking in with Cathy and her son. They're in their tiny little kid bedroom. They're eating dinner or something. And he asks, have you guys seen Veronica? And Cathy asks, is she missing? And then we just cut to a new scene. Time to see Victor. And he says, I forget who it is.
Mike
that
goes
comes
to get him.
Oh, Mike goes to get him and says, it's Joseph. He's lost his wife, doctor. So then they all go back to Alyssa, who they've just agreed to leave alone for the rest of the night and have interrupted twice now. They go to Alyssa asking if she has seen Veronica. She doesn't say anything because she's going through it. And Joseph goes next door to talk to Ben. Ben sees that Whitney is dead. Ben's standing there like, oh my god, I don't know how I gotta remember. He's trying to act as best as he possibly can at this scene. He's saying he can't remember what happened, and Victor says that she's been dead for a long time, Whitney. Joseph then goes to kind of fight Ben, and this is where there's another example of what Zach was talking about earlier, where I thought the screen was getting cut off because he lunges to punch him, and all of that is immediately in the top of the frame and you can't see anything.
Yes.
You see bellies jiggling, you see fists trying to pull him back, and that's it. Michael
for some
tries
reason
to pull
in
him
this
back.
room they specifically they refuse to show you only get the north and south perspective. You don't get the east and west.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know if it was a size issue, if it was just a narrow room and there isn't much space on the east or west wall. But
I think that they don't have a script supervisor or anything like that. They don't understand the 180-degree rule, and at that point it was too late, and they were like, let's just only do this. We can't do anything else, otherwise the movie won't make sense. That was the problem.
Yeah. There's nothing going on cinematography wise. They're not trying to create any suspense or any character beats using cinematography. It's seriously the camera's there to capture what the actors are saying, and that's it. And they don't choreograph the fight scenes. He doesn't think to shoot for the edit in any way. It's just shooting the script. There's nothing artistic about the cinematography.
In this moment, Ben is like in a bathroom that's off to the side of the bed in this room. And the camera's clearly on a tripod because our director is popping in and out of the shot. And you see Ben's nose. Like, that's the top of the frame is Ben's nose. Yeah. Like, I don't know how you don't immediately look back on that and say, let's do it again. Like, and Ben stand in the bathroom just to get the full head in there. I don't understand this.
I think it comes down to just time. It was a super low budget thing, and they were just people's schedules, and they were just fuck it, we got it. I got it. We have it. We're moving on. I think that's why they didn't redo lines.
I paid for this DVD.
Yeah, that's why
Andrew got his money from me.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah. So there's a small tussle between Joseph and Ben, but nothing like really happens. It's just kind of a fake out. Ben thinks that he killed Veronica, but he's not sure. He says he doesn't remember. And at this point, a couple of his buttons are undone. You can kind of see that the Uki mark, whatever the fuck the thing is, has been spray painted on him as well. The dark mark, I called it. Victor backs away from Ben and locks him in the room.
Well, Ben asked for it. Ben
oh,
says,
that's right. Lock me in here.
Yes.
Don't let me out or something.
He's realized it. And he's like apologizing. Victor, I'm so sorry. I never would have told people about that case. It brings it up again. This case, the mystery case of Victor.
Mysterious case.
I don't know, fucking a coma patient or driving a car through a school parade.
maybe Victor Frankenstein is his real name. All over the news. Yeah. So he says, go get a hammer and nails.
Go to the kitchen for the hammer and nails.
Yes, finally. Hey, used for the kitchen hammer.
So he gets the hammer from the kitchen. He gets some nails from somewhere, and they very carefully and quietly hammer those nails in. And the hammering is really weird and echoey.
It's because they're putting the nails in between the door and the frame.
Yeah,
because obviously it's the lady's house. You can't
do
hurt
it for real.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask. And I am the least handy person on earth. I know nothing about construction. If somebody said hammer a door shut, I would assume I need more than just nails and a hammer. Wouldn't I need extra wood? How does that work?
How does somebody a door shut? I would need to do.
You can jam.
The only way I could. Go ahead.
You can do it, but it reads better on camera if you have an extra board.
Yeah.
And if someone knows the intricacies of how to nail a door shut with just a nail, you can do it. But
yeah, you've got two problems there, though, Nick. These doors are about a half an inch thick.
Yeah,
like not even, probably 2 centimeters, and it goes in. It goes into the room.
It's a pull door, and the angle at which he nails, he has done literally nothing to stop anybody from opening that door. Theoretically, I guess at an angle he could have, but he didn't have the angle. He didn't have the tools. And he didn't have the equipment.
He did have is access to plenty of plastic.
True.
That's right. You plastic up that door, nobody's getting through it.
That's true. They should have quarantined every room in this house.
Yeah.
Individually.
Well, they could have taken the plastic and tied it around that door handle and then tied it the other end on the next door handle.
Yeah, true.
And so they'd be pulling and nobody would get,
Yeah.
I don't know.
So we go back downstairs and Joseph is drinking, and we just get a shot of him just drinking in the sunroom. I don't know if this is still supposed to be in the middle of the night, but there's just sunlight streaming in.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
Is this where we see the goopy food?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, this is where I had a serious crisis. Was this not just a few hours? And maybe that's supposed to be the point. It's supposed to be alarming. Like, look, it's changing the house. It's changing everything. But I started to think has this been a few days?
The through line of that they wanted, the house was getting sick too. So therefore the food was growing mold. The table was growing mold. They just couldn't go the full, but they still wanted to pepper in because they love the idea so much. They still peppered it in because I think it's in real time. I don't think that the passage of time is more than a day and a half.
Well, because
and so there's no reason that food would have been that rotten.
It's super
easy. It would have been dried out at best.
You just have a moment where like Edward, or not Edward, but Ben or Victor says, "All right, everybody, it's time to go to bed." Everybody goes to bed. You literally fade out of the shot, or you cut to the sun setting and rising or something to show the passage of time. But
Abel comes in, he's 15. Everyone's got big beards.
I would have preferred that. Because this doesn't work without that history, without knowing what they wanted to do about the house getting sick. I mean, I think there's all the bits about the house making weird sounds.
Yeah.
Like you could maybe infer it there, but the first time I remember seeing this, I remember being like, wait a minute, what the fuck? Pause.
Yeah.
And staring at the shot of poor Joseph sitting in the background getting drunk and looking at this filthy, moldy food and then being like, but why is he drinking that?
Right.
Like... So
why did that not age?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Unless he's drinking the poison. I don't fucking know.
Maybe.
Wow.
Well, but okay, also, I'm sorry to shoot more holes in this, like that CDC guy. We get the conclusion to Joseph's torture over where his wife is. Like, I don't think Joseph would sit there and lament for a month and then finally crack and get drunk and do this. I think he got drunk that night and the next morning he's like, fuck this. Show me her body.
Yeah. Yeah.
And another thing this movie missed the boat on is you could have had, depending on his emotion, since since the actor didn't have that Padawan thing when he auditioned, so that was a choice of either the actor or the director to have that specific little thing. It would have been awesome if that thing would have changed depending on the emotion. He was like a little indicator.
It's like Dragon Ball Z. It turns blonde and like goes straight in the air. Yeah.
Or the passage of time. It's just a lot longer.
It's still the same width. It's just like 3 feet long, and he uses it to choke
He's
Ben with
using
it.
like a lasso.
Or maybe it has a mind of its own, and it turns around and starts whispering to him.
Yeah, he can whistle to it like Yondu. That would be cool. Man, so many things that could
I've
happen.
never had Taryn before.
Missed opportunities.
Don't kill Abel. He's small. He can good for thieving. So then we go back. This is where I started to not really enjoy Sickness House anymore.
What?
But then also it kind of got me back in because this is where it's just tiny short scene after short scene. Here's another 30-second scene. Nothing happens. Here's another one. Here's another one. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So we see Michael writing, and he's writing, and because he's a writer, and he drops his pen and it rolls under the door, and he then knocks on the wall, and then we see.
I think it's supposed to be that it goes under a false wall.
Okay.
I think that's what they were trying to set up because they try to set up that there's more to this house than we know.
Yeah.
And I thought that's what it was supposed to be.
Were they trying to do a spoilers for The Boy, but The Boy where there's a boy living in the hall in the walls?
Yeah, Aiden or whatever. I think that's exactly like I think it was supposed to be a fake wall, and that's why he looks at it like, but also why would rich people's fake wall have like a pen-sized gap between
more than a pen-sized gap?
Yeah, between like the molding and the floor. That just doesn't make sense.
Well, also, but at the beginning of the scene, Helen is in the room with him, and she leaves. And we see her, so the hallway upstairs is basically, there's 4 rooms. You go to the end of the hall, there's just a window there, but there's one room on the left and the right. You take a few more steps, another room on the left and the right. So they're like at the far end on the room on the right. Helen walks into the hallway to go into the room across from them, literally takes a step and is at the door to the next room. That's how thin that hallway is. I love this house.
Yeah, it's the same. I'm not even convinced. Like, you cannot convince me that this is not the house from Sledgehammer, just with some wainscoting. Like, legitimately looks almost identical.
Could be. It could be.
Could be.
Then we go into the bathroom where Helen is showering, and she has her razor. She can shave her legs. And then she sees that she's also got this dookie mark on her leg. And she grabs her razor because the cabin fever had come out a few years before.
They showed it on Michael's neck, too, like behind his ear. He scratched it in the previous.
That's right. But she's got it. And since cabin fever was big a couple years before, she tries to shave it, and that's the only thing I could think of as to why they put this in.
Yeah.
Yes.
And she just kind of like rubs it across, and some blood eventually seeps out. It wasn't nearly as gross as I'd hoped.
Not that I want this poor actress to go through this shit, but her legs are already shaved. So what was the point here to begin with?
Because
Could never be too shaved, according to Joe Buckley.
Yeah, no
Because
kidding.
couldn't she have just scratched at it really hard? Like, did they need a razor thing? Because she doesn't even, she attempts to take her own life with the razor, but that has zero, like, it doesn't matter to the plot whatsoever. So it could have just been, I found a bump, I'm scratching it, but no, it was get in the shower and like a whole thing.
Somebody's trying to open the door. This is another shot of like the door handle just shaking.
Yep.
Like from earlier in the movie. And then she's all tense about it and kind of getting upset about it. And then Michael opens the door, comes through, and then she cuts her wrists with this razor. And not just like, it's not like she has a razor blade in her hand. She has like a fucking Gillette that she just like a
dollar store Gillette.
One of those orange and white plastic razors, and she just like pulls it across her arm. Probably didn't do a fucking thing to her arm.
No.
And there, but
was
they
there
act
blood
like
dripping down the back of the shower?
Yes.
Yes, that
I think
does
that's
happen.
supposed to be from her leg.
No, there's a point where blood like comes from the ceiling. It drips down.
No, you're right. Yeah.
Is that again more allusion to the house being sick?
Yeah, I think so.
And plus, she's panicking and hearing things too. She starts like, I'm not sick.
It's called Sickness House. Mm-hmm. It's called Sickness House.
Yeah, we've said it a billion times.
I thought it meant it was a house full of sick people.
No.
Not that Andrew.
The house is sickness.
You thought that when it was
invited to Sickness House.
You thought
the house isn't sick. The house is sick.
But so the sickness house go to Africa too? I mean, if
that's what I wanted to.
Sickness is coming from Africa. It's not. So the house
much
got
like
infected.
The house in Up, it flew with balloons over there.
Yes.
Like the sickness isn't coming from the house. We know where it came from, unless. No, it doesn't work. I was gonna say unless it infected her sister and her before she went over. And then it's trying to take over the world. I don't know.
We're thinking
Tyler,
too much about this, boys.
You thought this was like a Jeff Foxworthy joke, like, man, there's a lot of sick in this house. Like, is that what you think happened?
I thought it meant there was just a house full of sick people. Not that the house itself was sick.
No, the house
itself.
The house of ill repute.
Yeah,
I've learned so much today. My mind's eye is open.
Good.
So Michael helps her out of the shower and says it was the man who attacked her in Detroit.
I think she says that she was raped.
Is that what she says there?
I didn't catch that dialogue there.
Hold on, because I'm pretty sure she says he was inside of me.
Oh.
Hold on, I'm gonna listen back to it.
I just thought like in her brain, like he's taking her over.
Yeah, I thought she was just talking about the monster that everybody sees, because everybody that before they attack, they've been seeing that frog eye, zombie creature character.
Yeah, she says, I tried to fight him, but he was too strong. He was inside of me, baby.
Well, now we can cross it off for low budget horror bingo.
Yeah, we did it.
Yeah.
Oh man, no, this movie didn't deserve to do that.
So anyway, that happens.
Let's just gloss over this.
Yeah, we listen. The five of us, we have nothing to add to that conversation. We'll just go on to the next talking point. La da 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 da. And she says she insists that she's not sick. And then they realize they like pan down and she's lost like a fuckload of blood.
Well, it's like the scorpion shower from Insecticidal.
Yeah. He starts like slipping and sliding in it. He's like, oh, all this? Yeah, okay. I thought that was red soap.
And as soon as they see that and we were able to process it, we cut again to another scene where Cathy, the maid, just walks into glides into the kitchen and says, hey, if anything happens to me, will you take after my son?
Sure, of course.
To asking the mom, Lily, and she's like, yeah, sure, of course. And then that's it. We're going back to Michael. Michael's checking in on Joseph. I don't know what is happening with his girlfriend / wife, but he's going to check on Joseph, who's still
gotta go find my wife.
Hey, listen, she saw that. Oh, but okay, but So this scene, this is the same room where we last saw Joseph getting hammered, and he's sitting at a table. It looks like a sunroom, or almost like a it looked like maybe like a porch, like a nice enclosed porch or something like that. And Michael walks in, doesn't say a word, and then like starts to turn around, and Joseph says, I can't remember what he says exactly. But he's like something like, "Oh, Michael, you're always son of a bitch." As Michael is walking out of the room, and then Michael turns and says, "What do you want?" Like, dude, you went into this room to speak to Joseph,
I love that,
right?
I didn't catch that line, so I loved how Joseph is just like, he don't give a shit now, and he's gonna settle all debts in the sickness house. And but you always were a son of a bitch. He's just, I wish that's how the movie would have turned. He just goes through fucking, showing up all his bad feelings, talking his shit to everybody.
And you're a cheap ass. You don't even get donuts, or you don't even get sprinkles on the donuts when you bring them in on Fridays. He's just like really airing it out.
I faked every orgasm.
Every last one. So then
back of his head, he's like, "Eat this." He's just bullying. He makes Michael eat his brain.
It's like suction cup to the back of his head.
Lost his mind and he's drunk.
Yeah. He says, I could still hear her. I could still hear her voice. I could still hear her, Michael. We're all going to die in here. And then Michael goes back to Helen with 2 bottles of unlabeled water from the craft service cooler. And Helen says and Helen's like in the bed, covered up entirely. You see like a tiny bit of her face sticking out of the covers. She says something like, "Oh, I feel terrible." And Michael like walks around, drops the bottle of water off at her, gives one to her, and takes one for himself, and he gets into bed and notices he like has put his bottle of water on the nightstand and notices some like weird green things floating in the water.
Yeah, it wasn't bottled at the source. It's definitely filtered.
Well, bottled at some other source, maybe.
A swamp.
Yeah, and then as he's looking at that, Whitney jumps up and is like, jump scares him. And he jumps out of the bed, and it was a dream or a vision or a hallucination.
Probably like Frogman is just
because he jumped up, and when he did that, he looks back at the bed, and it's Whitney's not there. It's Helen, who's just like still laying there. But then drunk old Joseph comes stomping up the stairs.
Another thing.
And he's got the bottle in his hand. He's like, "I'm gonna get you, son of a bitch. Where's my wife?"
It's so the picture quality is so bad and the lighting is so poor. I thought it was a giant bottle of barbecue sauce. Like he's coming up there.
He's got a 2 liter of Sweet Baby Ray's. He gets some answers, motherfucker. Come for your ass.
Well, that was his New Year's resolution, was to cut back on and but he don't give a fuck. You know how much I don't give a fuck? He's just eating condiments. It's straight sugar. He doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, who fucking cares? My wife died.
They call me Score Settling Joe. You're next. Turns to the camera, and you.
And that's the end. That's the last shot of the movie.
It's like William H. Macy's monologue in Mystery Men about the egg salad sandwich. My wife never lets me eat the mayonnaise and the egg salad sandwich, but today I'm gonna do it because I might die.
That's right.
And she's got an ass in her cock in the front in the driveway, and then he shoots himself.
So he's going for answers. God damn it. Says, "Yeah, I'm gonna get you, son of a bitch. Where's my wife?" And then another classic sickness house move, setting up a cool kick-ass scene, but we don't need to see that. We got to see a TV popping on. So we go downstairs, and the TV just turns on. Nobody's there. Just TV turns on. That's it. Next scene. Victor talks to Lily in the kitchen. He says something like they're talking about his job. Work is hard. He's not sure if he's making a breakthrough or not.
Yeah, sick people.
And he says, he's like, "Oh, you guys can come, stay in the office with me while I work for." So I don't know how that would be more appealing. I guess just to be with other people. And she's like, "Oh yeah, sure. Okay." And then he looks over at the knife rack and notices that a knife is missing. And that's all we needed this scene for, I guess.
Exactly. Learn some fucking subtlety here, because he walks in, they exchange about 10 lines, And then he finishes like saying something to Lillian and then just looks to the left exactly where it is. And then we just hammer into it. Like, have Lily be sitting in front of it. Like, it's kind of off center to behind her head.
And you notice it.
Yes, because he's
during
already
the conversation, and then so he is thinking, and we as the audience are thinking, "Oh no, her husband is dead. She's got a small child. We haven't seen her much. Maybe she's got the knife." And now there is tension in your movie.
Well, you've heard of Chekhov's gun, right? It's like a gun in the first act should pay off in the third. Is that right?
This is Chekhov's hammer.
Well, I'm waiting for that. Hammer.
But this is Andrew's knife. It's a gun that shows up in, or a knife that shows up in a scene has to be paid off in that scene. Like, no mystery here.
No, it's a knife that is not even in the scene. You never see.
Good point. Good point.
It's gone.
But it's the most important prop in the movie, though.
Yep.
Well, you don't even get a chance to wonder where it is because the very next scene you see where it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't bring any tension.
But and that's like, there's so much of this. Like, even when we bring Victor into the movie, Ben calls him, makes a big stink about, you got to get here. And he's like, I don't want to go. I'm fucking New Year's with my family, blah, blah, blah. We cut to like a 3-second shot of a car driving down the road. And then he just walks in the house. It's like, have some patience, dude. Like, that's why your movie's an hour and 7 minutes without credits.
All right, here we go. I'm bringing it back home. Things are going to get crazy now. Things are getting very fast paced. Cut to Victor in the kitchen, wondering about the knife. We see the knife is missing. Boom, we know where the knife is because now Michael is holding the big fucking knife and he's sitting in the bedroom and he's watching over Helen. Helen's in bed and she's tossing and turning. She's asleep. She's having a nightmare and she attacked by the frogman. And she's screaming and squealing, and he's bleeding down on top of her, and it's very violent. And Michael's just watching. He's not doing anything. Well, then it cuts back to her, and we see that there is no frogman, but she is covered in blood. It's a dream, kind of. But we know that they are experiencing these things. And, she's being attacked by this bloody zombie. Then it cuts to Victor. Victor runs because he hears all this
hullabaloo.
Yeah, all the hullabaloo.
I don't know how he heard it. It's such a large home. But somebody must have told him. There was a game of telephone.
They've got speakers in all the bushes.
Yeah, that's it.
Cut to Victor. He also has a gun, we find out. He's got it in the case. So he brought his case and his gun, or maybe the CDC gave it to him and told him the code, whatever. Yeah. Either way, he opens up the case, pulls out his gun, pulls out a clip, puts it in, loaded for berries, ready to go. Helen's alone in bed, so we now know for certain that it was a hallucination. But she's covered in blood, still covered in the blood that was pouring down on her from the frogman. And then looking to settle some more fucking scores, here comes Joseph. Joseph drunkenly stumbles into the room where Michael and Helen are.
And another thing.
Yeah. Your fucking denouements were shit in every book. You don't know fucking denouement. You fucking misspelled epilogue. There was no choose your own adventure. Let me get another drink of this sugary
barbecue. That was sauce. That was no goosebump book.
Oh boy.
All right, but yeah, Joseph drunkenly comes into the room. Michael screams at him, "Leave her alone." Joseph wasn't going anywhere near Helen, but the sickness house is in Michael as well. "Leave her alone." And he slings the big fucking knife and he slashes Joseph's eyeball. Joseph stumbles down, blood pouring from not really pouring, but blood's coming out. Helen then takes that moment to attack Michael. She wakes up, she attacks Michael, grabs the knife and stabs Michael to death. Michael is dead. Now Joseph is wounded and he crawls into the hallway. He's holding his eye. Blood is coming out from between his fingers. And that's when Victor, taking the long way around, apparently, comes up the stairs, finally gets to the hallway.
It's a big house.
Without questioning things, without missing a beat, fuck you, boom, shoots Joseph with the gun. Pow, pow, pow.
You know, the last thought through Michael's mind was, oh, good, a doctor.
Yeah. Oh, he's here to help me. My eyeball.
Oh, thank God, a doctor. Bang.
At this point, we've seen that Michael and Helen have the black mark, but Joseph, we haven't seen that, have we?
No.
I don't think so. He's just,
not that I know of.
He's just getting drunk and he's upset about his wife. And he's
so
just.
Is this the missed moment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess
so.
Maybe Michael would have been immune.
Could have been.
Or, I mean, not Michael.
Joseph.
Joseph.
Maybe all the booze killed it.
That long tail barbecue sauce booze, it protected him.
Yeah.
Oh, well, at least he got to settle some scores. But Joseph's dead. Michael is dead. Victor runs into the room where dead Michael and psycho Helen should be, but they are gone. There's no bodies. They're just some bloody sheets. Victor then goes next door, 5 inches, and talks to Ben through the door because Ben's just been hanging out in there stewing. And he asks about a hidden room again. He's like, is there a hidden room in this fucking house? Ben's like, I'm not sure. I don't know. They do this back and forth again. And Ben is also hearing voices a little bit. You see Ben's point of view. He's hearing voices. Things are getting crazy in there.
Get better at acting. You're terrible at this. Stop what you're doing and take your child and go home.
You could probably switch into some pajama pants at this point like everyone else did. You're not going anywhere. Get comfortable.
McDonald's has a 2 for $5. Stop by on the way home.
That's where bad. Victor enters the room, sees bloody eye. Ben's hearing voices. Victor then goes downstairs and he starts banging on the walls, trying to find any echo, trying to find the hidden room, the false wall. And while he's doing that, we cut to an insert shot of a close up of bloody Helen in the wall, and she's also covered in cobwebs. So if that wall is being utilized, it hasn't been utilized in a very long time. It's just full of cobwebs. And then while he's doing that, Lily comes in with the baby, and she's doing a lot of humming, and she's acting all strange. And Abel, the maid's son, comes in as well to see what Victor's doing. What you doing? And Victor then smashes the wall in. We learned that through sound effects because they didn't actually smash any wall.
Because the door to the quote unquote wall is already a little open.
Oh yeah.
And he pretends to break it open with a crowbar.
Well, because like he sets up the crowbar, also keeping the door as still as possible, and then you hear the crunch and it cuts away.
Yeah.
So, but in the world of the movie, he breaks open the wall and out stumble. Was this Helen's body or some other rotten corpse? I couldn't really tell because of the close.
No, probably Veronica, because
I thought this was Veronica.
She disappeared.
Yeah,
but this is what has me thinking that
but the body was all rotten looking.
But this is what I think that they should have done. Andrew, I get it. You couldn't make your whole house filthy dirty. But what if there was one space in the wall where, let's say Whitney was like the origin of this. She vomited up the heart of the illness into the wall to keep it hidden. And she's been taking the bodies and feeding this thing to make the sickness house grow and get worse. That way you just have like one closet you open up and there's like this beating
and
bloody
it's gross.
mass.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they've done that before where like the thing is like the faces of all the dead people built into it.
Yeah, well, Leviathan did that with Monster, and the Thing, of course, is kind of.
These directors, man, they just need to call us 1-800-Malevolent-Movie Script Punch Gang. We got this.
It's a real long number. Don't worry, it works.
It's real.
Yeah. All right. Although at the very end of the movie,
Let's make a Gmail account. Fuck it.
There is a phone number at the very, very end of the movie if you ever wanted to call it.
Oh, let's call it. I'm going to call it on the air. I'm going to call it on the air
right now. Very end. Right after the credit sequence, when there's a second credit sequence. Phone number of the producer. All right.
I got a few words.
All right, Lily and the baby. Okay, and the body falls out. And they tell Abel, go find Cathy. Go find your mom. Where is she? Well, you know, when they run upstairs and they find Cathy has torn a hole in the plastic wrap and escaped. She's gotten out of the fucking sick.
Yeah, I think you hear a crash somewhere, like glass breaking.
Yeah. She takes that perfect moment while they were remembering she existed. That's the moment she's going to make a noise and escape, not during the other violence. It's also at this moment that we find out why the TV is on. We can hear that there have been press outside, that this event is being covered. People know about it, and we hear a voice, the newscaster saying, "Oh my God, the hazmat people are around there," and doing that shit.
Well, because when they run upstairs to see the open window or the torn plastic, a CDC guy comes and he's grabbing the individual pieces of the torn plastic and like trying to pull it together. Like,
I know, it's like I was waiting for him to go whoop, sorry,
like
and just
get some duct tape out and just
Yeah, he's just so very like, oh, I better fix this hole.
Or just pull out a gun and start firing.
Well, that's going to happen in a second because we hear on the news. See, so Lily and the fake baby and Abel and Victor are watching what transpires now on the TV through the press. So Cathy is outside. She runs out of the yard. She runs over this little bridge. She gets into her car. She starts up her car. She's going to get the hell out of there when boom.
Well, a van pulls up in front of her car first, a super old minivan, and
just
a CDC guy driving
van.
it.
Yep.
And then another guy comes up to the driver's side window.
Cathy has started the engine. She's about ready to get away, but a hazmat guy comes up to her. She doesn't even have a second to think about it. Boom, her brains are blown out all over the inside of the car. It's seen by her fucking son, Abel, on TV. It's seen by Victor. It's seen by Lily. It's seen by the fake baby. But we don't even have a chance as the audience to really take that in like, oh shit, because boom, we've got Helen. Helen sneaks up, bloody, covered in cobwebs. She's got a knife. She's behind Victor. She's getting ready to stab him, but then boom, she's shot by who? By Alyssa. Alyssa has snuck out of her little pity party room. She's got a fucking gun, and she kills Helen.
Well, it looks like the gun Victor had. So did he lose that at some point?
He might have dropped it while he was banging around with trying to find the wall.
Just banging.
He might have put it aside thinking nobody's going to pick it up. He forgot all about Alyssa. It says
well, yeah, okay, hold on a second. This is so bizarre because he goes to get the crowbar. And I guess maybe he left it there when he got the crowbar to open that little door up. Maybe that's when it happened.
He's got it. I'm doing the same thing. Ha! He comes downstairs and he has the gun, and there is a little red cabinet at the foot of the stairs, and he places the gun on top of that and then starts banging on the walls.
Okay.
And that little cabinet is like right there by them.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha.
So yeah, so Alyssa, so boom, Cathy's head is blown off. Boom, we find that Helen is still alive and she's got a knife. She's ready to kill. Boom. We find out that Alyssa's decided to come down and kills Helen. This all happens in like a 10 second. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. And then it cuts to then it cuts to outside where the hazmat people, they've covered the entire fucking house. It's like, I don't know if you've seen the end of the Kingdom of the Spiders where it pulls back. You see that the entire town is just covered in one big web. That's like what this house is. Go back and we see they have covered the entire house, not just windows. It's like a bug bomb, like they're going to bug bomb the place. It's like they've covered the entire house with like hundreds of feet of plastic wrap, and they're now reinforcing it because of all what's happened. It cuts back inside, and Alyssa explains why she came down. She said, I was scared. All I could hear when I was in that room is people crawling inside of the walls, and I could hear Ben next door talking to himself. So, reinforcing the idea that there's something in the fucking walls, and Ben's going crazy.
It's a sickness house, guys. It was there all along.
Oh, the house is sick.
It was in the title.
The sickness is calling from inside the house.
You're not wrong, though.
No.
But Victor is still staying positive. He still believes, even though he wrote down chance of getting out, 0% chance. He still believes. He's got a modicum of hope that they will be set free. And Alyssa says, well, motherfucker, you're lying to yourself, but that's fine. Alyssa's gotten real sassy since she fucking killed a zombie. So she's got a lot of confidence now. And Lily is just she's just a meat house. There's nothing going on. She's just sitting there rocking, humming and blowing. She's gone behind the eyes. And understandably so. She saw her husband's heart shoot out. Ben, okay, here comes my favorite part in the entire movie, that is Sickness House. We finally cut to Ben, and Ben is sitting forlorn in his bedroom with his dead zombified wife, and he decides, you know what? That's all she wrote for old Ben. I'm going out.
Make himself a bleach cocktail.
I love so much that he decides to pour bleach into a cup.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing in this movie. He makes the choice to drink the bleach first of all, but then he's like, I'm going to pour it into a glass. And he does. He pours it into a glass. He chugs the glass.
I'm not an animal.
He's like, well, this is probably enough bleach. He has no idea how much. I'm going to tell you this. If I make the choice to go the bleach route, I don't know how much is too much, how much is not enough. I'm going to chug everything I got straight out of the bottle.
Good news, Ryan, is there is no too much. If you're trying to kill yourself.
I just want him to be like, ugh, it's warm.
Yeah.
He wants to get some ice for it.
He calls the maid. Yeah,
Cathy.
Like, how embarrassing if he's like, oh, that was not enough bleach to kill me. Is he has to pour a second glass? Like, that could have been really embarrassing.
It's like Dumbledore. He has to drink that potion.
No.
Oh, yeah. Stop drinking.
They're all just around him, forcing him to drink the bleach. He's like, I don't want to drink any more bleach.
I can't, Harry. It's too much, Harry.
You got to drink it with a shell.
Give me a
That's what he
shell.
should have done.
Kathy, can I get my bleach shell, please?
They have one of those lamps where it's clear and it's just filled with seashells, so they smash it to get the shell.
It's at the bottom.
He finds out it wasn't bleach at all. That's where his wife had been hiding the vodka for all these years. She's a raging alcoholic, hiding the alcohol everywhere. The last thing they're going to check is the bleach.
She's not sick. She's drunk.
The whole time.
Yeah.
Oh, you got egg on your face, buddy. All right, so yeah, he drinks the bleach, and then he obviously starts having a reaction. He goes into the bathroom, starts vomiting a viscous, thick fluid, a blood type of fluid. At that moment, Whitney rises from the dead and goes to attack Ben. Ben is scared. Ben feels fear in this moment for his life, even though his life was for not 5 seconds ago with the bleach chug.
Yeah.
In that moment, he's scared. No, leave me alone. He's scared of being killed by a zombie, even though his guts at that point are literally coming out of his stomach because we see that he's holding his own intestine. I don't know a lot about bleach. I've never ingested bleach. If you drink bleach, does it burn your intestines out?
Yep. Yeah. Just pops them right out of your belly. Yeah.
He's literally holding onto his intestines.
If it weren't for his boot-cut pants, you could see his rectum also prolapsed. So it's just a lot falls out of you.
That's why bleach is also called the liquid razor.
Right.
Yeah. Well, see, it expands. It expands like those little, like you get those little pills you put in water. It's like a dinosaur. Bleach is the same way. So it's just pushing everything out of his belly button and his butthole.
That's why he rose up like 3 inches when he sat down. You just saw him slowly rising. That was all of his. That was everything that was him coming out of his butt. Anyway, he holds his. No, Whitney, no, and then Whitney stops attacking, and then he dies. He holds his intestines, and then he dies. Whitney finally does get into the bathroom at that point, and she doesn't really look that monstery. She's kind of normal looking at that point. Which made me think for a second, maybe she's coming out of this. Maybe the sickness, you just ride it out for 24. It's just a really fucked up 24-hour flu. And wouldn't that have been a thing if they would have just held on? They shoot Abel. It's like the end of the mist. And they realize, oh, we would have just waited.
I would love that. Jane. There's like 30 CDC guys out there with like machine guns, and they just blow that kid away. He's like Hitler's face at the end of Inglourious Basterds.
Oh God, just melts. Turn to a pink mist.
Oh man.
And then they pour bleach all over him just to be sure.
And what was he holding in his hand? He was holding a Mother's Day card in his hand. Anyway. It's not darker than Pet Cemetery. It's fine. With the kid's foot, the shoe. All right. Fuck, it's been like 3 hours. Victor.
The shortest movie with the longest review.
All right. So Victor and Alyssa hear the commotion and they run upstairs. They go to Ben's door and effortlessly break in, proving that there wasn't much of.
You literally just see the nails fall to the ground.
Yeah. They don't even push. It's like push pins. It was more like they were just, bing, 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 bing.
It's Velcro.
They effortlessly break in, and Victor goes in there, and Victor starts losing his mind. He starts pointing the gun. He starts acting crazy, talking nonsense. Then we cut to Lily. Now, while they were upstairs, Lily and Abel have been hanging out down in the kitchen. And Lily's just been sitting there. She's rocking the baby. She's humming. Abel's just sitting there, not really doing much of anything. Certainly not earning his keep and earning his room and board by cleaning. They're just hanging out. And then comes my second favorite part of this movie. You knew something was coming. You've been watching Sickness House. You've been seeing people succumb to violence one by one. And Lily's been weird with that baby the whole time.
Well, because we cut down there. There's a couple times where you see her just kind of like, she's not like shaking it, but she's herself is shaking and like holding the baby out in front of her. And it's, oof. Go ahead, Ryan. Go ahead.
And so she's rocking the baby. And let me see how I wrote this down. I want to preface this by saying the scene is effective primarily because right before what Lily does happens, they did give us a shot of her holding the real baby. So often throughout the movie, she's holding a doll. It's obvious it's an doll, and there's not an effect there. But in this moment, they cut to her. She's holding a real live baby. Then they cut to another angle where she immediately gets up and she slams the baby on the countertop, splattering the wall with a torrent of blood. Just crunch. And you're like, holy shit. But before you register that, she just fucking destroyed that baby on that countertop. And they put the crying sound effects in there too.
The first time I saw that, I gasped. Like I couldn't believe that Andrew Torres went for it.
Yeah, I thought if she was going to kill the baby, they wouldn't show it, or it would be implied she drowned the baby or something. No, she just picks the baby up, and with all her fucking might, she slams that child down onto the countertop. Fucking splatters the wall with splatter sound effects, crunch sound effects. They spent their time on the sound effects. What
if it was like a red herring? Them not showing him crowbarring that door open. It's like, oh, they'll never show anything if they won't even show that, just to slam that baby's skull into that counter.
It's a jaw dropper, and you only get a second to realize what happened, to go, oh my God, before it cuts to the very next thing, which is Alyssa locking Victor in the room and running downstairs holding the crowbar. So things at this point, but this movie speeds up quite a bit during the final minutes. And she gets downstairs with the crowbar to see what the fuck's going on. Abel comes around the corner, stands there for a second with blood streaming from his skull. He's obviously got a head wound
from the kitchen hammer. He probably got hit by the kitchen hammer.
And he just drops dead.
Pays off.
Chekhov's hammer.
It pays off even more because the little boy looks right in the camera. So he's just like, it was the hammer.
He winks.
Also,
and he goes, it's hammer time.
In the final cut of the movie, you notice that you don't see him walk into frame out from the kitchen, because I can imagine he never did fucking do it slow enough.
No.
And they got mad and fuck it, just kill the kid.
Well, because I'm pretty sure in the behind the scenes, like he has a line, he says like, I'm sick or something.
Yeah. And when he comes in during that scene, he has no blood on him. And in this shot, they did the blood.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
It was the one take.
They might have had more. Yeah. But he comes in, he's got blood pouring out of his head. He falls down dead. Then Lily comes around the corner and attacks Alyssa, who immediately brains her with the fucking crowbar. She doesn't even attack her. She lunges for her, really. And Alyssa, quick thing, the crowbar just crack.
They took two different cuts of that moment. Because it's clearly they put it on a tripod and she's there. She's like standing there looking menacingly. And then it hard cuts to her being mid. Mm-hmm. It's like the conversation with, wait a minute.
And her eyes are all bloody too. So she's, she's obviously.
Did we ever learn what that conversation was that Lily wanted to have with Helen?
Dude, I don't remember.
I don't even remember
They set it up multiple times where Lily's like, oh, I got to catch Helen before I leave.
Oh, that's right.
We have to talk. And then
she was going to tell her that she's force sensitive. That's all.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Joseph's grandfather is Palpatine.
Mace Windu.
Yeah. Both.
I can't hold it much longer. The sickness house.
I'm so sick.
Now, yo. Did you know that the Emperor's name is Sheev?
Yeah. She is Palpatine.
A year and a half ago, and I was just like, come on, fucking Sheev.
Yeah, it's dumb.
Sheev Palpatine. Why couldn't he just been the Emperor? At first he gets a silly last name, then a full name, and anyway, that's another.
Jeremy Palpatine.
Okay, so Lily rounds the corner and brings the crowbar. Then, Alyssa's freaking out. She starts screaming, what do you want? As she's hearing noises, the sickness house is finally getting to her. What do you want? She runs to the door. She wants to escape. She opens it. There's plastic wrap. At that moment, Victor walks in and he's green. Victor's turning green.
He's hulking out.
Yeah.
And he's dribbling blood out of his mouth. Makes.
So one thing that I think is so funny is a crowbar has been used to open a door in this movie, and open a skull in this movie, but it can't be used to open plastic.
No.
Come on.
No, we've established that plastic is more than plastic.
is very very strong plastic.
Yeah, it's a super plastic. But she's put it in the bag. We hear gunshots. We think, okay, well, they must have went in and shot Victor. Now everyone's dead. Fade out, fade in on a hospital hallway. And now we see Alyssa.
Could be a dorm or an apartment building.
Yeah, maybe like an accountant's office.
Yeah, it's the office part of the YMCA.
Yeah.
It's where the president hangs out.
Yep.
He throws a candy out at the parade. It's the one time you see him. Anyway, we cut to Alyssa, and she is in sort of a makeshift room that is covered in plastic. She's in different clothes now, and she's okay. She seems okay. She's reading a book. Somebody brings her coffee. She says thank you via ADR, where her mouth, she never actually said anything, but they thank you. She seems okay. Then we cut to Victor. Victor's alive. He's still green, but he's in his own room, covered in plastic, and he's doing the whole in the mouth of madness crazy thing. He's written on pieces of paper all over the wall. He's writing figures and craziness, and he's doing
like 6 pieces of paper. He's got like 6 pieces of paper.
No, he's got more than that.
Yeah, no, they don't sell it very well. It comes off as cheap. I get what they were going for. I do. They just fell a little short.
Well, to your point,
they're 17.
Nick, I'm looking at this, and you've got some that are just straight scribbles. You've got some that are like 2 pictures of an eye. You have one that looks like the image of somebody getting stabbed, but then next to that, you have like some periodic fucking hydrogen shit, like cellular structure. So it's like,
there's one at the top that looks like the map Thor draws of the 9 realms.
The one next to him looks like the one that Samwise draws in Stranger Things of the lake or whatever.
Yeah.
Rip
yeah.
off.
So it's it's implied that he's gone crazy. He's hearing voices. He's hearing the voices now of all the people that were from his party. So we're getting the dialogue. The vaccine, we hear vaccine said like 6 times, and fuck your code said a couple of times. Basically all the things that Ben said to him. It keeps rattling on in his green brain. And then it cuts to the credit sequence with this terribly produced mall punk song. If anyone's a fan of MXPX and has their first album from 95, 96 era, the production and song and vocals sound exactly like that.
It's playing right now, fans.
You got the sickness, baby.
Go ahead, Ryan. It's going to keep playing.
Oh, okay. And it's glorious in its own way, and it's perfect for the end of Sickness House. I mean, it's a cherry on top. Now, if you follow the credits, you watch the credits all the way through, the credits end, and we have some black leader for about 30 seconds. And then, boom, we get another end credit sequence, this time with title cards and imagery from the movie and spoilers from the movie and written and directed by. You get a second credit sequence that should have been the only credit sequence, or should have came before the crawl credits. And then the movie ends.
I didn't even know that was there.
You did that as fast as you could.
Yeah, I turned it. I barely made it to the end.
Well, the reason I noticed it and I didn't turn it off is because I listened to the song and laughed at the song, and then it's like the black leader, and I was waiting for it to end. I was waiting for it to go back to the menu, and it didn't. So I hit the time, and I was like, it's still got a minute and a half. So I just decided to sit and let it roll just in case, and I was rewarded. Wow. So there is a second.
They did it before the MCU, and then Tony Stark walked in. It was like, Sickness House, I want you for the Avengers Initiative.
Imagine if the MCU just trolled evereverody and you sat through the credits to see a second credits.
And it's also 12 minutes long.
But it's at the end of that second credit sequence that you get the producer's phone number.
Okay, so I'm going to call it. I am going to call it, guys. Let's see.
There we go.
Just making sure. It has a California phone number.
Oh, no.
Sickness House Incorporated.
This is the Sickness House.
The 4th ring. I'll give it one more.
Leave a message.
I don't think it's going to let me.
Hi, you have reached Luca. I can't take your call right now, so please leave a message after the tone.
Maybe able to hear me?
Whoop. I don't know. His name was Luca. I don't think.
Luca.
Nicole got a new number. Poor Luca getting these Sickness House calls.
You're not going to get anywhere until you start piecing this puzzle together. Luca has all the answers.
We should call this guy back and see if he has ever gotten a phone call asking about this. Tell him that his phone number is at the end of this movie. He might appreciate it.
You know
this
what?
could be a good hit.
I'll text him.
Please.
And see if he knows about it. I remember years ago, I rented there's a movie called The Barbarians, and years ago, Sean and I actually, we were having a party at our old apartment, and we watched The Barbarians, and at the end, there was an 800 number to get Barbarians merchandise, which we knew was 30 years old, and we called it. It was some other company that was, a 24-hour company, like insurance sale.
Assfart.com.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. So there you go. That is the epic that is 2006's 70-minute long Sickness House.
Not even 69.
On a scale from malevolent being the worst, to benevolent being the best. Zach, I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
I don't understand. Look, guys, I get it. I like bad movies too.
You want to give it a good rating?
This is
Give it
so
a good rating.
No, this is Malevolent for me. It took me 4 times to sit down and watch this movie, and it's an hour long. Okay, I watched 8 episodes of Attack on Titan the other day in a row. Okay, in a row, while playing PC Simulator on my computer. That was how much I had going on, and it took me 4 attempts to watch Sickness House. So it is Malevolent for me. There is very little redeemable in here. I would watch it again exclusively if it was to point out to people how bad of a movie this is. I can't call it a good movie. I don't even think I could call it a fun movie. I did have some fun sometimes, but for me, I gotta go hard Malevolent. I'm sorry.
This is what we get for having you back, asshole.
I know, I'm sorry. I just had to. I don't know. I'm sorry.
No.
We got this, guys. We got this.
You see,
Please,
I had to have you here because you had to contrast me. I knew you wouldn't like it.
Good.
Because you're normal.
Yeah, no, I don't know about that, but I just wanted one good cinematic shot, maybe be all right.
With a baby.
The baby, yeah. Trevor.
All right. So, as happens here on Malevolent Movies, when we start up recording here, I think, yeah, Malevolent. I'm going to give this a Malevolent. This is a Malevolent movie. But sitting here for 3 goddamn hours talking to my good buddies about this piece of shit, this isn't a Malevolent movie. This is a good... I wouldn't say this is a good movie or a great movie, but this is a damn benevolent if I ever seen one.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking back to this movie is boring. Nothing really happens for so long, but that's not true, really. It's just that the things that happen the first time you're watching it don't seem to be very interesting or exciting, but when you go back, they all compound. Everything except for that one bit about Lily wanting to talk to Helen. I feel like everything does eventually come back around. It may not be in a satisfying manner, but it does come back around. And I feel like this is one of those movies that it ticked off a lot of the boxes that we look for in the movie that we watch. And the best part, I think the saving grace is that it is so damn short. Because you don't really have time to sit with it and go, oh my God, how much is left? Because by the time, at least for me, by the time I got to that point, there's maybe 15 minutes left, and that's fine. I can sit for 15 minutes. I did still have to break this up over a few sessions like Zach did. But
it's an hour-long movie.
Right. But it wasn't because it was because of external reasons.
You get so full quickly. You have to take breaks, dude.
Yeah, of course. Definitely.
This movie is very rich.
Yeah.
This is like a very rich chocolate cake.
It's like going to a buffet. You gotta go take a couple dumps.
Yeah.
It's fine.
You need to shove your head into a fondue fountain for 3 minutes and let that just fill you up till you're sick. That's what this movie is. It's just a bunch of shit. It's just coming at you. There's no nutritional value.
Like we have said, it's right there in the title.
Yeah, it's right there.
This is a movie that makes you sick.
Yep.
I'm gonna say fuck it. I'm gonna say 100% benevolent. Like 5 tiers, full bars, all 5 5 stars or 5 Roddies, whatever the fuck we give these movies. 100% full blast. Loved it. I hate that I loved it, but I'm sick now. Nick, please let me know what you think of this movie.
Okay. I mean, obviously, benevolent, yes, but
well, of course,
I would say it's benevolent for no other reason than compared to some of the shitty stinkers we've been watching. That those are just, for me, those are so malevolent. I'm not gonna lie, it's boring. And there's not a lot going on for it. There's not a lot of interesting kills, anything like that. But
that's true.
The thing I think we're after is
a baby gets slammed into a counter.
Okay, yes. Let me get to. I'm not finished.
I'm sorry. I'm just hot. I'm hot on sickness.
It's okay. We're after so bad it's good, and I've been so bored the last like half a dozen movies we've watched because they don't quite make so bad it's good. Maybe because they're 45 minutes too long. They bore me too much. But this is it hits a sweet spot. The acting is just it's perfect.
It's the right kind of bad acting.
Yes, there's the shitty movies we watch. There's the Stink Squatch movie where they're handing it up. It's supposed to be. We're not supposed to take it seriously. They're trying to force so bad it's good. And then there's the boring shit like Computer Tron or whatever the fuck that movie was with the
Game Box 1.0.
Sure,
Computer Tron.
But it'll help if you got your friends with you, of course. But I mean, even so, like you might be bored with this movie, but there's a lot to love. There's a lot of and I'm just talking about the shitty stuff right now. There's some legitimate, like, interesting things that if they were done right, if they were done well, I'd love it. There's some intriguing concepts and thought-provoking weird shit that happens in this movie that I'm gonna have to give it some credit for. So yes, I'm gonna give it a fuck it. I'll give it a 100% benevolent. Why not? Compared to all the shit that we have sat through for the last 6 goddamn months, I am ready.
Benevolent boys unite.
Watch it.
That's right.
Tyler, please.
You know, 100% full blown benevolent. I shouldn't even be happy about this, but I literally was like giddy watching it the third time, like clicking my heels in my big lazy boy chair. I fucking love this movie, and it's because like I can appreciate and understand Zach's position, and that's why like I'm Bizarro Zach, because I loved all that shit that he probably hated with a passion. Oh my God, give me 20 minutes of these people just sitting in a room talking to each other. The acting and the writing, it was just, Andrew, I know I gave you a hard time, dude. I appreciate the fact that you stuck out with us for 3 hours. This is the shortest movie we've done and the longest episode, much deserved. I appreciate this movie more than you can ever understand, and I'm sorry it's not your vision. But Jesus Christ, I'm going to talk about this movie for the rest of my fucking life. And this is coming from a dude who once ate so much at a Ponderosa, he threw up in his cup of Mountain Dew. And did that stop me from eating? Fuck no. I went to the bathroom, puked a little bit more, and went back.
Well, yeah, you're empty now. You got to fill it back up.
The spare tire?
No, yes, Nick was there. I will go back to Sickness House. I will go back to the sickness well until I'm fucking dead. I'm going to fucking, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get me something that looks like bleach, and I'm going to cheers myself every time I sit down with Sickness House. I'm going to get a bottle of barbecue sauce. I'm going to have a damn good fucking time. And I'm adamant about this. At some point, we're going to have to do a Hall of Fame here on Malevolent Movies. And this goes right up to the top. That's all I got to say. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for hearing us out. Zach, I'm sorry. I know you're upset with me. I know that we may never see you ever again.
It's not too late for Zach to change his vote. We could
Well,
sweep
Zach
this whole
hasn't heard my
thing.
vote.
I haven't heard Ryan's vote.
Okay.
And I have
Oh,
thoughts.
that's true. That's right.
Oh,
Ryan,
God.
I swear to God, like a baby, I'll smash you into a counter if you don't fucking vote the right way.
Don't do us dirty.
Zach, I don't want to leave you alone. I don't want to leave you taking the slings and arrows. But I've got to. Because this is
No, Zach
this
left.
is benevolent.
He left.
Zach left. I'm sorry, Zach. I'm
Zach,
sorry.
come back.
I hate that I got to bring up the tail to be the final nail in the coffin on a 4-on-1. But it is. This is benevolent. You know it's benevolent for me. I'm the one who I've watched Sledgehammer since we've reviewed it.
For fun?
For fun, because I love these movies that are earnest and they fail. I don't like when they make schlock that fail. But when they are earnest about what they're doing and they're trying their best and they just keep shitting the bed over and over and over and spraying the bed and getting a new bed and spraying shit on that bed and selling the house because
Soaking that mattress.
Yeah, they sell the house because they have memories of shitting all over it and they shit on a new house. And they shit the bed so hard. They're so earnest to what they're making. And Andrew, you thought you were making something you weren't making a goof. You were trying to make a serious horror movie. And I understand your position. I think the idea is, as far as a big mention on New Year's Eve party, you get a bunch of people in here. We explore their personal relationships. They don't necessarily want to be there. There's a lot of richness to this movie that could exist that you weren't able to do because of the budget and you weren't able to do because you didn't want to hire talent. And I understand, but man, you know what we just went through. Rewrite this. This is a script that if you remake it and shoot for a $2 to $5 million budget, meaning you're going to shoot in a big house and you're going to have real talent and you write a better script, maybe you hire somebody to write your script and you kind of give them notes in your story, but you hire a real writer to write your script. You might have something here because I think there's a lot of cool ideas in Sickness House. I like the idea of the breaking down of the people, these friends and these relationships. They're already coming in with their own baggage, and then you hit them with the sickness house and they start coming at each other's throats. I like the idea of if you could have done the house being sick and falling apart and getting more rotten. That's a great idea. There's a lot of good stuff in Sickness House, but I got to judge the movie by what the movie is, not what the movie could be. And even then, it is a piece of shit. It is Sledgehammer level bad movie. But if you love that kind of stuff, where the people are trying and failing because they just don't have the talent, but they're trying their best and they still suck. They're endearing to me. I don't hate Andrew. I don't hate the people in this movie. I don't walk away with any disdain. I had a good time with Sickness House for all the wrong reasons. I don't like the movie for why you think you thought it's a bad movie. You made a bad movie, but you made a bad movie that succeeds on entertaining levels. The attitude you had going into this movie was a little bit of a shitty attitude, but I think it sold itself. You were rude to people on the set. We saw that. You're yelling at the kid. People were fucking up their lines, and you just kept rolling. You didn't give a shit. I feel your frustration. I feel there are so many scenes that are like, yeah, everyone was irritated at this point, and they just were saying, fuck it, let's go. Move on. Print that piece of video. But at the end of the day, benevolent. If you love movies that are so bad, there's entertainment value. Get your friends together and watch Sickness House, because it is an earnest film, and they tried their best and they just couldn't do it. But they create something else while they were at it. This is some Mark Borchardt shit. So
it almost swept.
Zach, can you hear us?
Zach, you're here in the house with us.
Zach, are you there?
Zach, it's not too late.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, Zach, I want to make it up to you. Please show us your face. I want to see your face.
I don't want to.
Oh, Zach, come on, buddy. It's okay. Because here's what.
He is.
Are you willing? I know.
We got a
to
treat.
Well, we got a treat. I got a treat for you. I've never done this before. This is the first in Malevolent Movies history.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to come back for episode 18 or whatever it is.
Okay.
And I know I had been teasing you with a little something. I've been dangling something in front of you by the title of 2017's House Shark.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for the fans, the true Malevolent Movies fans, Zach is big fan of the Sharknado series.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Zach, I'm willing to throw House Shark out the window. If you know a good indie shark movie that we should be watching, I want you to pick it.
Oh, yeah, I do. I have a
want
really
you to
good
pick
one.
it.
I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Okay. I'll send it to you. I'm very excited.
Zach's
Yes.
pick.
Yep.
Zach's
yep.
pick.
I'm going to go up and check my collection and see if there's more than that one. But I know
collection.
I have a few. If it's got the word shark in the title, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
But I think I've got a perfect one in mind.
Okay. All
A
right.
total side note, now that you brought that up, Zach, watch Cruel Jaws.
Jaws?
Cruel Jaws came out in 1995, Italian ripoff movie. They got sued for over and over again. It even uses Star Wars music. It's got a Hulk Hogan wannabe in it, and it is phenomenal.
I will definitely watch that.
You will really appreciate that because I know you're a shark movie aficionado. So released overseas as Jaws 5. Part of the reason they got sued.
Oh my God. Like, put the Star Wars music in there, call it Jaws 5, go for it.
Yeah, it's got the
Awesome.
Star Wars music and then it cuts off right between it's like dun, 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 right when it would kick in, it cuts to something else. But it's
Awesome.
It's blatant. So.
Andrew, if you're still listening, just rebrand Sickness House as House on Haunted Hill 2. You got it, buddy.
There you go.
Go make that money to make the sequel. The proper sequel.
No one can sue you anymore. Lawyers don't exist.
You got the sickness, baby.
Wow, what a ride, guys. What a fucking ride.
What a ride indeed. The voice recorder, as I just found out, on Microsoft or on Windows has a 3-hour time limit. So I did have to restart my voice recorder. So you got 2 files coming. One that's 3 hours, one that's 17 minutes.
I appreciate that, Zach. Thank you.
I can't believe Sickness House was 3.5 hours. It's because it is rich. There's a lot of characters and there's a lot of relationships that are worth discussing.
I'm almost curious. We need to do a long movie, like a 2.5-hour one. And I'll bet it probably ends up being maybe even less. If you get a lot, there's a lot to say. If they don't give you much, and long movies tend to not give you much, like in the indie world, they think they're giving you a lot, but they ain't giving you shit.
Well, yeah.
And then you have to fill in the blank and fill in the blank. And I'm having a good time, guys. You guys want to watch it again?
No,
let's watch it right
have
now.
To go
Not right
away.
now.
I gotta work in 7 hours.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine. Fine. You guys are going to
Brain
see
check.
me in a month. I'm living on the street with just a tablet playing Sickness House. I'm buck naked.
You've painted yourself green and you've glued a bunch of great
You've got
cotton
the
balls
thing
to
on
your
the back of your
skin.
head.
Yeah.
You grow that little thing. Tomorrow, I can't wait to tune into Rise and Grind and I hear Zach come on and say, you think I could remember the trivia show? What's the trivia game called again?
Woefully
I've already
Impossible
forgot.
Trivia.
Woefully Impossible Trivia. 0% of people in the Sickness House have a chance of what? 0% people in the Sickness House.
Dude, I told Sean that on Friday, I was like, and this on the air, I'm like, what should I do this weekend? He's like, what do you call it came out? Trading Places, or Coming to America 2.
Coming to America.
Yeah, he's like, Coming to America 2 came out. And I'm like, oh, hell yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to watch 1 and 2 this weekend. I didn't. I instead did a shit ton of work around the house, and then I watched Sickness House. So it's tough to talk about on the air because you can't be like, oh yeah, I watched a movie that's really bad. It just doesn't play. Play on the air.
Fuck your audience. They don't
Deal.
Just yeah.
But if there's no tickets, they're tuning out anyway. No
Exactly. Oh, we are giving away tickets though this week, so they'll be there.
Oh, boys. It was good to see you, gang. It was good to see you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Always a treat.
All
Even if
right.
it's Sickness House.
Sickness House.
Yeah.
Like, subscribe for more 3-hour marathons.
Yeah. Where we get sleepier and sleepier.
Yep.
Stick around and catch episode 18 where Zach is put to the test. Can he stand up to Sickness House? Survey says no.
Oh man.
And we're out.